Yeah, Big Lebowski. I mean, that's a classic.
Yeah, and it's been on my list for like years. I'm
Yep.
finally just like, all right, I need something. I need something for a Saturday afternoon. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I also yesterday was Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like don't know what day it is ever anymore. Like the cadence at the hospital is like kind of follows like a week pattern. Like things were slower on Sunday, but maybe because we met on Sunday morning, it felt like work day. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I just kind of am guessing in like a 3-day range. I'm like, is today Monday, Tuesday? What day is it?
Plus minus a day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It's last week, basically two of our engineers, well, no, or two of our people were out at the startup. So it was like me and one other guy. It was like super quiet. But then we had an intern start. So that like changed the dynamic as our first intern, our first external hire in like a year and a half. And then my friend came back from vacation today. And now he's just like catching up on basically all the social norms that have been developed in the past 3 days. Because like all about, well, we've added another person. We have new ways of talking about like PRs and staging and all of this. And now he's like, trying to catch up, but also like trying to be like, well, this feels like not so good. Let's do this, and it's just fascinating watching that happen live. Like just this process of onboarding somebody new, but realizing that you can't onboard somebody without also making new things with which to onboard them, and like the very act of like looking at something changes it. So it's like this like really shifty soup that's just constantly messing around. So that's been fun.
Yeah.
I love interns. They're so much fun. I remember the first time I got an intern, I was working at a health insurance company, and yeah, they like, it was like a sidekick. It was so much fun. Like getting to tell them, okay, what everybody's not saying right now behind the scenes, and then being like,
yeah,
what? And you're like, yeah, that's how this works.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is to be somebody's intern. Anytime I
Still
talk,
is.
like I have friends who are like going to get jobs at fancy places and stuff, and I'm like, just remember me when you need an intern.
Yes.
I work real hard. I pick things up quickly.
Yep.
Nose to the grindstone kind of mentality.
Do you think you'd actually be a good intern?
No.
You'd be horrible. He would be off doing whatever he wants. You'd be like, what are you doing? He's just like, what? You opened a few doors, so I went through them, and like, I don't know. I created a whole new whatever.
In fairness, that's kind of how we had an intern. In my first company, he was 15, and like I think they hired him just because he said a lot of words that they only understood like some of, and they're like, okay, this kid is clearly smart. And he was around for like 2 years, but for the most part, he did like maybe 10% of what we asked him to do, and then would just like go and rewrite like the entire scraping system from the ground up. And we're just like, this is literally 10 times more valuable than anything we could have given you. So please just stick around and write code like as you feel fit. Now he's at Google or something, but we had a good run. Yeah,
that's fun. Okay, that's how it works. Just give like bright kids something to play with. And then loose instructions not to blow anything up, and you'll be fine. You'll get all kinds of good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
That
the sound
laugh,
okay?
CJ, sounded like a Beef's TV laugh.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like internships are pretty funny things.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the whole like not blow things up is, it seems like they always end up constraining, or at least the internships I've had is always constraining to a part. They're like, yeah, like just do what you want. And it's fun. Like, here's like a few little tiny things, like play with it and just see what happens. And by the end of it, there's like no expectations, because they're like, you're here for 3 months. And by the end of it, if you beat their expectations, they're like, wow, this guy actually did something.
Yeah.
So it's like fun playtime.
Yeah.
Play learn. Yeah.
Play learn.
There's less like pressure too, because you're just an intern. Like it gives you
like you have nothing to deliver.
Blanche. Yeah.
Everybody,
no pressure on you ever.
Everybody who comes into the like Buzzard meetups will be an intern. That's the highest and the lowest level title.
Everyone is an intern.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
We have an intern-based culture. Just play with everything. Try not to blow up anything.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're not going to get paid a lot for a while.
Yeah.
Perfect. Easy.
Yeah.
Good
I like
pitch.
that. Yeah. if you're sold on this and you're like, 45 and an expert at something, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Or if you're 15 and you want to break something, it's fine too.
Both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. So how do we get into things here?
I was thinking might be my turn to drive. I'm happy to code.
Sure.
And I tried as usual writing an agenda, and really the only two things that I got down was like query input and query output. So
Perfect
Sounds
agenda.
like our kind of agenda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Right. Let's see if this works.
Is the noise on my end okay?
Yeah, it's very like low.
Okay.
It's pretty fine. That is project. I've also been getting used to my new split keyboard, so now I'm back on my Mac keyboard, and unlearning like a decade's worth of typing is actually really hard.
Yeah.
It's so deep. But I thought like switching from a flat keyboard to mechanical keyboard was hard, but then going from that to this whatever this newfangled technology is, even rougher. But I like it. So, okay. I don't think we made any changes to honeycombs last time. This project is all stable still, and let me try running it. We should maybe have some new packages possibly. Wait, what's going on here?
Yeah, actually, I might need to push some package changes to honeycombs.
Okay,
Now
that'd
that
be
I'm
great.
thinking about it, let me do that.
Cool.
In fact, probably all of the repos are not there, but at least honeycombs is the base one.
Yep.
That needs to go.
That's the wrong one. And just push it up to master. I'll pull that down.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
Although we still have our burst 1 branch, so you could just
Yeah, you want me to go into that?
push it to that. Yeah.
Is it called burst 01?
Burst -1.
Burst -1.
I'm kind of imagining here is we start with building a I have more packages. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for those changes. We build a component for the query. That component knows how to accept the like keyboard input that contains query parameter hyphen blah blah blah, breaks that into some sort of structure that we can reuse and various other components can understand in case we need that like query state to be accessed or modified by other things down the road. And then that is going to convert down to GraphQL. We're going to try hitting the Graph API, getting those endpoints in, and having something return. And I guess also try and have some sort of query results like flow. But we already have an index. We already have a little bit of state for what the blocks are on the page. So not clear in my mind whether we have the query results just like get added to that, or we build something that kind of wraps the whole display of those and takes into account sorting and any other like highlighting and stuff that we want to do. Yeah, if y'all think of anything else, feel free to add it in.
That's good. Yeah.
Cool.
What do you call this part of the process?
The part where we are deciding what
Whatever
to do,
the
Like
no,
scaffolding?
the like actual binding up, or is there a name?
Sometimes it's the thing that happens when you have a separate front end and back end team, but I don't know if that part has like a separate like stage or name, because it's usually, but yeah, it's kind of, at this point we're taking all the pieces, wiring them up together, and fixing the parts that don't really fit.
It
Wiring
should
up.
be there now.
Cool.
Stapling the front end and the back end together is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Staple it.
You can certainly call it that. So we already have a query bar. We already got a component.
Sweet.
Yes. So Honeycombs refuses to work in my Chrome browser. I've not yet figured out why, but fine. Something security localhost, like cookie garbage jank. It's probably my own configuration, honestly. Anyway, so I'm gonna connect, I think, so that I see, because I guess the query bar will only be visible if we're logged in, which I think will be, although I'm not sure about that. Actually, might be visible always. We have some conditional stuff with the post button, but I think it may make sense to actually have it visible always. At any rate.
I think that's like I don't know. It's a feature kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
You want to come to these things and be able to search them, and like provide views for other people through the thing. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Either way, it doesn't feel like we need to make a hard decision on that. That's pretty easily reversible.
Yep.
Okay, in terms of literally adding this component in, just want to make sure we're not using it anywhere yet. Query bar. Yep, they're not. So we want to be somewhere in here, I think, though. If this is our index, yeah, before the first block, wrapping that.
Do you think header or above the first block?
Yeah,
I'm just not sure how the CSS is styled here. What will make more sense?
Exactly. So I mean, this all is still the index for us. So header may be even a more natural place to put it into. It would make it wider, or rather taller, but then it's kind of always there, and don't have to worry about it. So
currently, all the header stuff is persisting in the frame effectively. So like, I mean, that's the loosest logic on it, so it makes sense, because then we can move it around based on scroll and stuff like this.
Yep. All right. And looks like we kind of have this. Where is our actual add button? Create. That's something else, right?
The connect wallet button, probably.
Oh, that is handled by both. Oh, yeah.
Because it turns into.
Yeah, so possibly need to rename that at some point.
Yeah, it might make sense to kind of separate it into two components potentially.
Yeah. And I think we may need to stick this in another, although or should it actually be in the nav element here? This is but not part of the list. I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to get positioned later, whether this needs to become a flex thing.
Probably. I mean, right now I'm just sort of absolutely positioning things and fixed positioning things. There's like, it's just sort of locked in. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Whatever you want to do.
Let's do this. God damn it. This is the part where my like fingers have relearned what to do, and I have to undo it. Okay.
Yeah, so right now the nav is like I think fixed top left or something. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Usually, also, I'm like very used to using Tailwind's classes, so I've like almost never actually defined flex in pure CSS. That'll be a little tricky. But what I can probably do is just have an extra div here that acts as like the center section somehow. See if this works, and then we're gonna call this search.
Is it class name?
Yeah, class name.
Right, because it's reserved. Yep.
Yeah.
And search. Never sure. Flex one and then flex direction is what actually specifies a row, I think, and then space around might be what we want. Let me see here. Now we are at the very left here, somewhere.
So I'm guessing what is happening here. I don't know if it's display flex or flex itself will do this. And also I think it might need to be wrapped overall, like in terms of even the absolute positioning stuff in the header itself.
Yeah.
By within the header itself.
So
we're still.
So I think in the header CSS selector here.
That's where we're specifying flex.
I think so, because every like sub element now will be tiled like horizontally from there. I believe.
Okay, let's try that. So now,
I forget if it's display flex or not, though. I'm not
I think display flex sounds right. Yep, flex direction. Okay, so this is what we have now. Let's see. Yeah, now it's its own div. That
still doesn't
look
like something.
Yeah, that's probably just because it doesn't know
the positioning is absolute or relative or something.
No, I think at this point, I could do this live. Probably is we want to give it
something about a line item and then space around.
Yeah, space around. I do not. Is that flow? Underflow?
Justified content.
There you go. Yeah.
Probably what you're looking for.
Yep.
Yeah. Space.
Probably need that on the one above. Or
yeah, it might be a line items if you did the flex direction row.
Line items would be on the one above.
Got it.
It would be center probably, because right now I think because both the nav and the connect wallet I think are fixed, so they live outside of the flex context. So they're
so this is the only thing that's in here. Yeah.
So I think like a center is probably what you want to do.
And then we want to give that to the layer above, so the header.
Yep.
Do we also need to tell search to be a flex item?
Shouldn't need to.
Actually.
No.
Okay. So headers.
Still don't have that. It's down to a science.
Yeah.
Stuff.
What is it?
Line item center.
Try justify content as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. That seems to be working now. Don't think we need this div, possibly.
Nope.
Great. So here, we're going to need some things. Text field for sure. Probably just hit either search on like key down or field deactivate without even a button. Let's see, text input. Okay. So we will need a little bit of state here, like really just the query itself, I think. Query.
And then I think put that in the array syntax for these guys.
Yep. Both of them, right?
Think around the outside, yep.
Cool.
Think.
Sounds right. Then put one key down. We already had this laid out somewhere, I think, in our. I'm just trying to remember if there was like a kind of a pattern we used for another function here that was the set, or it was safe to just wrap this whole thing into a set query. I think that we did something like this, where we passed it. Let's see here.
I think onChange is usually the default type.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking of. So onChange, we take the event and then send it to that. Yep. Curious also about like the placeholder and like what the query might be before we even modify it, whether we want there to be sort of the idea of a default query that's like there immediately, which kind of, I mean, right now is some sort of wildcard asterisk deal. So maybe it's not really worth like making that explicit, but basically I'm curious if like the flow should be, I want to modify the query to get it closer to what I want to see, rather like, or compared to the query has not been entered yet. So I'm looking at like sort of the state of the page, and it's in some state that I'm trying to understand and modify.
I think empty probably feels the most appropriate from a user's perspective, but subjective.
Yeah. Fine to keep, yeah, like empty, and I guess we're really.
I think maybe once we more define around like the query capabilities, it might make sense to fill it, but right now we just don't have that sense yet, I think, so it's fine to leave it.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a pattern here that's like, this is the home query or something, and then you can lock that in. And then you start from that every time, but I don't think it's important to fiddle with that just yet.
Cool.
Okay.
So I think we can go two paths right now. We need to take our actual user input, which actually could contain double quotes. I'm going to do it in single quotes. Then it's going to be something like a user. So let me open up the Figma file. We have at least some of this laid out already. Figure out how much text parsing we want to get into right now. So let's just take that. Type text. Okay. So there's a few things around like query parsing that are. And first of all, if there's any libraries that come to mind, Shahruz or CJ, by all means, happy to use those as well. But my kind of thinking is we take the raw string then break it out into key values, then see which of those key values match maybe a GraphQL definition that we have access to somewhere, so that that link is just made as early on as possible. There's no like maps to update, and then convert that over to GraphQL and send it off. Does that sound reasonable?
Yep. I don't know any libraries offhand that might help with this text part.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty specific thing.
Yeah, I think unless you just do it something like an argument parser, then it's very simple and there's off the shelf kind of things. But since we're kind of defining our own language in a way, I think it's not going to be quite as trivial.
Yeah, and I think I guess we can also make some assumptions about type and author, you know, that they're not going to have spaces in them, that they're not going to have symbols in them. So we can kind of do a regex heavy thing here where it's like pretty defined. And there will definitely be like weird things that come out of here that'll need to be tweaked because this isn't, I get like the difference is it's hard to have these sorts of systems give feedback to why they didn't or did parse something. It's a little like black box until we have kind of these individual elements where it's like once from here is like this, and here, you know, Discord is reasonably confident it's going to parse this as from, and we can be sure that Discord sees it that way. But since we're dealing with text primarily all the way through, it'll be hard to be like, yeah, where the query broke was right here because we didn't recognize that. But I think that's acceptable for now. So let's see if I can just do this in here. So Firefox is trying to.
It
What do I
doesn't want you to paste in there.
It's also not letting me type. What's going on?
They care when you're pasting things you don't understand.
Yep, that's ironic. There's some great irony in here.
Weird assumption for a browser to make too.
Yep.
I guess maybe they had some instances of someone telling someone else to paste some crazy JavaScript in their console and it hijacks
probably
their computer or
Yeah.
something.
I don't know if y'all have seen on Facebook, like when you open up this thing, there's just a giant banner that's like, do not touch this unless you are very, very sure what you're doing.
Wait, really?
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
Wait,
yeah.
now I want to do it. That's so funny. Oh, wow. Yeah, it says stop in big red text. That is hilarious.
Also, I'm not a regex like kung fu master. I'm actually like regex is not great, and that is the actual expression. But what I'm going to try to do is named capture parameters that just pull out things that look like text. There's also maybe where we make a rule or a distinction about spaces after the colon or none. And I think for sanity, I would definitely prefer no spaces, even if we visually show that differently, because that way, yeah, it's just like cuts down on complexity a little bit. So named capture groups to remember. Right.
to admit, anytime I have to dip into regex, I just pay somebody on Fiverr like $5 to do it for me.
That's fair.
smart.
I just like, I can't relearn the syntax over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always impressed. I usually, if it's not on Stack Overflow, I give up on regex and just like write some hacky parsing thing for myself.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to be able to give it an ignore case modifier, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't need that though. We don't need to know what type of. We kind of.
That's naming the thing.
Yeah. So what there's two things that need to happen here. I need to like know where type is, and then I know
take the
need to
thing
like
after it.
exactly. So we do know that it will be one word and character.
You know, this is why I see it makes sense now that programming languages have like semicolons and stuff. Just makes the parsing so much easier.
It certainly does. All right, so that's a group.
Okay, nice.
Great. Now we just need to give this, I think, a name. That might be hello for now. That's still called match one. What is that? Maybe named.
Group hello is text though.
Yeah, I think you got it right. The second line there.
Sweet.
So it was just finding the match.
I was looking at
actually
match one.
output the group.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yep.
Regex scares me.
Yeah. So group is a subset of match. Great. Yep, that makes sense. Then I guess our next one is going to be. First of all, I think all of this needs to get dropped into another structure like this, and then we may be able to follow the same, more or less the same thing. And then we have an extra. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
All right, I think this is already quickly becoming the most impressive Regex string I've ever created.
I'm certainly very impressed.
Thank you. Also just have unread as a word, but we should maybe also give that
Group.
Yep, its own. Okay. Quotes are going to be a little funny because it's like, I guess anything that doesn't fit into this really is our full text query or full text search. Because I guess an assumption here, missing fonts, that's okay, is that, gosh.
Ooh,
all right,
stop
let's
it.
just, it's not behaving. Can I just?
Question mark.
Yeah. Basically, this here will either be wrapped in quotes or it won't be. But either way, together it creates like our query. And probably if a query like parsing engineer was looking at this, they would like probably freak out at what I'm doing. But I think what I want to do is just say everything else we're gonna process downstream. And if it has quotes, then we're gonna like try to do specific matches. If there's spaces in between, we can figure out our own anding or oring, but basically everything else we're going to try and like match by content and not by special type. So what that means for us here,
quick thing. I wonder if unread also needs like a qualifying kind of thing before it with the colon.
Yeah,
partially for consistency, partially for like, what if you just want to search for the word unread?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe is could work like that.
That's cool.
Okay, yeah.
That way there's also kind of more of a consistent rule here of like the colons specify these kind of query
No, I
parameter
like
kind
that.
of things.
It
Yeah,
definitely
it's
cuts
nice.
down on set of possibilities already. We also can't make any assumptions that these things are in any particular positions. So this may be the rest of our query here, and it may be that it surrounds it on both sides, which makes things fun. Trying to think, yeah, like I don't know if y'all have seen the right regex flow for this, but in my mind, maybe an approach here is just take the set of things that we've recognized and parsed out, and then subtract them from our string, and the resulting text is our query. Feels a little janky, but seems to. So in other words, we're taking our query, extracting, literally like parsing, then extracting, and then everything else is being shipped downstream.
Mm-hmm.
So, these are special TypeScript.
I think you might put like a / in front of them, and then there's also like a new regexp kind of syntax, but I think they're
that sounds
equivalent.
fancy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that looks very clean. Okay, and we're not going to be happy with that because
So one
there
double
are
quotes for that instead.
probably escaped is
Or
my
escape.
guess.
Okay.
But this is escaped on JavaScript's level, not.
I think for the string that you're passing to the regex function, if you do double quotes there, it should allow you to do single quotes within it without complaining.
Mm-hmm. And given that we're not matching on double, yep, good. All right. Let's see if this solid here. Invalid group. I may have fudged something up here. Not escaped, not escaped. Let me also tell regex we want to use this in they don't. Let's try this one. Okay, something. All right, it's actually a slightly different syntax. They want.
There we go.
Wonderful. Now let's also try parsing a string.
Okay. You might need to modify that unread thing as well.
Yep. Good catch. All right. And just double check here. It's our target dot match. Pass it to regex. Okay, it's an array. Hopefully, groups is a pretty friendly object here.
You've got a space in the query between the colon and the value. Wonder if that
broke everything.
Still didn't like it.
I don't really like how this array is coming back with like multiple unread business. It feels like something is still confusing it. Like it's picking up unread multiple times. Let's go back to regex here and take this exact string. So I have to move the, I wonder if I could just hide this thing. There we go, better. Oh, gosh. So this all looks okay. Group type is a separate, no, yeah, okay. Thing. Okay, let's see, TypeScript. Don't really care about ranges on our end. Just doesn't feel.
Exec.
I think this is still syntax, yeah. Same thing.
You're doing a dot exec there instead of a dot match, the CJ pointed out. I wonder if that's.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's try it. Could be it.
Though, yeah, it looks like
They're
that's
passing it
not on
into
the
something
string.
else. So they're running
They're-
text on
on-
the
yes.
regex. Yeah.
So it still does not see that.
It still looks similar,
Still
but
same
let's take a
thing.
look at the groups.
thing.
Yep. There's possibly been a use of regex I had where I needed to specify the parsing like logic underneath. So basically in this function call, adding in some extra, but I don't
So you're
really
saying like it might be in when you're defining the regex itself, like the new reg exp.
Let's see.
I wonder if
the
there's
use
a
of that.
second parameter that you can specify the parsing options.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on with this one. Case sensitivity, but we shouldn't be being hit by that yet.
If you rotate the order in the query string, does it still show us the unread state, or does it start showing something different?
Yeah, let's see.
Maybe if is unread isn't last. Let's see if, because I'm curious if like there's something correct with the unread syntax, or if it's just taking the last thing.
Oh, okay. First of all, these are not optional, so I think that's going to throw things off. So we're now missing his unread, and this thing isn't taking it at all, which says to me, I don't want this irregular test go.
What? Can you go to map? Yeah.
So interesting. So this still matches, but at the whole level, it doesn't want to. At the like top level of this.
Could you go back to the, or sorry, in the flavor thing in the sidebar on the left? Wonder if you select JavaScript there, if that'll give you a better live preview.
Yeah, that's
Does
actually
that change anything?
Well, I did have to specify that last time, but just now I think we're still dealing at the same time. So the last time, that's how we got from the single quotes to
Right.
carrots, whatever those are. But yeah, that also. I wonder what list is. No, that's not what we need. Okay, optional. What if the whole thing is in a group and that's freaking something out? Let's see. It might not need to be. Regex group, and that was because of our. Yep. Okay. Looks a little different, but still not picking it up. Or wonder.
The pipe separator there seems to be an or command.
Yeah,
that might be exactly where you're about to say.
Exactly. So I'm imagining we need to. We don't need to specify that it is an or, but we need to say that basically these things are in a set, and I'm not sure whether that would be like parentheses or so one contains or set. So in other words, we do need a group, but it might be a different type of group. Probably not this one, because that's literal. It's not that. So let's see.
I just pasted in a thing in Discord, which is exactly, I think,
Nice.
what you're looking for.
Yep, that looks very relevant. Okay. I need to parse the whole thing. So this one is basically more, it's just going to give us everything.
Generic.
Yeah, which would be great because I guess we don't have to specify everything before the fact. Let's see what dropping this into here looks like. Let's just try one at a time. A is B. No. Word position matches any. As many of these, and then that's literal. Anything here, multiple.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the right one.
They're definitely getting close to it, but yes, Kristen.
Like a spell book. You go into like Stack Overflow and you're like, all right, like, is there like a different like recipe for this? It gets crazy.
It's
And then somehow you're
100%
like,
that.
oh, we got it.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that's exactly right. That's the spell book. Okay, let's look for more.
I kind of have something
You have something.
as another Stack Overflow, but I'm just gonna
Send it
paste
over.
Okay, my mouse is freaking out. Everything is freaking out apparently.
And this is what you usually pay people for, Shahruz, you were saying?
Yeah.
It's just like a nightmare. Yeah.
Yep.
Because like I think the people that know it really well, like just
Yeah.
have all these solutions in their back pocket. So if somebody's offering to do it for $5, then I just tip them another $5 afterwards. Like, yeah, they're happy. I'm happy. It's great.
Yeah.
Like specialized magicians.
You just need a bot
My
that
8
hooks
keys getting stuck.
into Fiverr from Discord.
Yeah. Or straight IDE integration, you know, just
There you go.
My computer is flipping its shit right now.
Okay.
What's it doing?
I'm tabbed out of Discord and it's just writing 8s into the text box.
Do you have a Bluetooth keyboard somewhere?
No, it's only my
plugged in?
real keyboard.
Weird.
Are you on
Kristen.
the Mac beta?
I am on the Mac beta.
Might have
Well.
something to do with it. It's been a little, yeah.
Interesting. Haven't seen that one before. That's a pretty bad bug. That's
Yeah.
what that is.
Was mine a keyboard or a mouse? I had a Bluetooth mouse in a backpack that was getting clicked because it was on and I didn't know it was doing that. And I was like, my computer is possessed. It's doing all these things. And Dave is just like, oh my God, it's always something with your computer. And then he's like, where's your mouse? And I was like, oh man.
Actually, yeah, as you're saying that, I just looked at my keyboard and there was a cord, a heavy cord pressing the 8 key down.
It's always,
That's funny.
yeah, what's
It's
that
Adams.
law?
Adams broke
law?
it.
No, what's the law of like
No.
the most obvious or like
Occam's
straightforward?
razor.
Occam's razor, yeah.
I'm thinking like Murphy's Law, like anything that can happen will happen or something like that. I forget what it is.
Yeah, that
Anything
and
like-
Occam's razor together.
Both of them. I don't know if this is going to give exactly what we want, but it might be more parsable from there.
Yeah, so this is actually I tried this out in here as well. And I wasn't.
Oh, really? I did it directly in my JavaScript console as well.
Okay, so did you define it like this, or did you do any extra escaping?
I did. So I literally didn't do the like new Regex. I just defined it as a whatever that thing
That may be
is.
safer. Same thing, really. And then let's try matching a string.
That was .exec.
Or exec.
Yeah, I don't know what the
There
heck
we
is
go.
going on here.
Oh,
There's
weird.
well, the preview was right. What? Oh,
What
Is
is
Firefox
happening?
just free? Is Firefox just freaking out? Because I literally did this
Very
in
well, maybe.
Safari and it totally worked.
yeah. Let's try in here. So not only do we have incantations, we also have like some sort of hauntings going on.
Yeah.
It's,
We have to try it in a different pentagram.
Different pentagram.
beautiful.
What?
This is looking great. So it looks like we could just loop through the results of whatever we get back from this.
But I guess the problem with this is it's not like super well defined in the sense that you're not going to get the key and the value.
That's fine. I think. Oh, what? What?
I guess
Oh,
A question now is if your original expression would have
Yeah.
worked in Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered that too.
mhm.
I would think Firefox might have just been flipping its shit.
It very well may have. Yeah,
The computers today are just haunted.
Let's just double check here. Is this my most recent definition? Yes. It could also this be this new fancy schmancy regex thing.
Could
But
be.
let's see.
Man, if they broke something like that.
That seems pretty low level. Like, don't just break. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not.
Well, this is not going to match just any key value pair.
Oh,
Right.
right. Yes.
I mean, I guess it theoretically should have, but
Is unread text.
no, it's still doing the same thing.
Yeah, will be
I don't understand. Why does it take the is unread over anything else?
Yeah, that's what I.
What's special about it? Is that the /G? Is that relevant here? Is that like a?
I think G is a default specification. What does it say in here? Global. Don't return after first match. So
that
sounds kind of relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, because CJ's did have that at the end.
At the very end.
So maybe we know pass in both a G and an I to that. Let's see what happens. Groups are still undefined.
Doesn't care.
Maybe try refreshing and doing it again, because I wonder if setting the vars that way might also be.
Yeah, I'm not even like that.
That C and X are really.
Yeah.
That mapping is hard. Does not like it.
Yeah. I know there's probably a very trivial solution here, but
there's something really strange that the unread, no matter where you put it, that's what it's grabbing.
Yes. Almost as if let me see if I can go back to this one.
Is there an or there? Oh, or did you take out the or?
Let me see if it's in here. The or is still in here, so let me try defining it without.
Was it even working in the Regex 101 without it?
It was working. Oh no. Okay, I see what you're saying. So it was working originally like this.
Right.
Now all we need to tell this string is that we want any of these captured optionally, or really, yeah. I mean, ideally would be optional. And this is where I got bamboozled when we found the other solution. But I think we could probably figure out how to do this. Let's see. Group capture anything. This sounds semi-relevant. So maybe we do throw this whole thing into. And what would the difference between? It's almost as if when it's running the regex, it hits is unread, like you were saying, Shahruz, but it like restarts at that point and then fills it again and again. It doesn't retain the fact that it needs to like run multiple times.
Right.
But
it's also at the same time returning the right keys. They're just undefined values, which is also odd.
Though I think that may be because they are specified here, so it might just be from the query, not from post parsing. Let's see if this.
There's also always the non-regex route.
There very much is. Yeah, I've been tempted to go down that. Would the easiest thing be really to just say we're looking for this key. If it exists, grab the things after it.
Basically just loop through the array or loop through the string and split it up.
Yeah. So we're gonna want our search terms. This will be like this, and then
Should those include the colons as well, or no? Or
I was thinking just add those in
Okay.
per query. Find if we want to check, probably shouldn't be using this one. If we want to get the presence of a string in another string, but also its index, is that what we want here?
That could work. I think index of. So query, you don't need to pass in again as a parameter because it's already inside your state.
Oh, from here.
Well, yeah.
Yep, wonderful. Yeah, so we are, okay, we're searching, yeah. Yep. Contains might be the thing I'm looking for. Basically, I want to know if it's in there first.
I think includes might be.
Include sounds right.
I always get includes and contains mixed up. So it's one of the two.
Yeah.
Python versus JavaScript.
Yep. And then this. If this is the case, then this is where maybe an individual regex could be helpful, where we can still say, give me the things after it up until the space. Or we could do ranges. I mean, ranges are fun in Python, less so in JavaScript. You see an ideal approach here?
I mean, if that makes sense, or if we can get the regex working, that probably makes most sense. Otherwise, I usually go super like inefficient probably, but it's all JavaScript, so it doesn't really matter. With just like dot split, if you run that on string, it'll turn it into an array, splitting it at whatever character or sequence you put in. So splitting it maybe around the colon and then splitting it around the space might give you, arrays that are easier to work with, where they're already kind of chunked out.
Pretty clean. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And you can kind of just iteratively keep splitting the array into like new arrays.
Yeah. So
or something.
Probably space first and then colons. So that because now all that's an array. So let's also say, can we just for each?
So a couple things. You probably want it to be a map instead of a for each, so that the return value is another array. And then you want to return the,
Yeah.
And then I think you can run like a dot flat at the end of that whole thing to shrink it back into one array if that's useful. But it also
that may be after we figure out what we do need and don't need inside of the array. So let me make this whole string look better. Is author and type text.
Yeah, perfect.
This is cool because now you can just look at the length of the array and tell if it's like a key value or just a search string.
Heck, somebody, oh no, my Firefox is no longer accepting clicks. I think Zoom may be like overlaying it. So let's just quit it and just try and fix everything. Goodness. I can't click on these buttons. Okay, let me just try restarting the screen share.
Oh my
Might be.
lord.
Filters. Okay. Let's just stay here. Beautiful. Okay. So in this case, to filter out the stuff, we can really just say, I need to keep only the arrays that contain where the first element is one of our query strings. That'll cut us down to only the things that have been recognized and seem to be important. And then just the second element of any of those will give us the values. That's my rough thinking here. Terms, is that our terms? And probably needs to be returned. There's, that is probably very Pythonic, not JavaScript. Terms that includes. Hopefully that works for arrays as well. Oh no, it's like it's gonna be like any of.
I think includes might work, or contains, whichever one it is.
But remember that this is taking an array as well. So I need to say it contains one of.
Well, I think if you passed it the L0, like I think it should work.
Oh, okay. Yep. Because if this was L0 dot includes, then we would want to unpack it. But in this case, yep, yeah, we're passing it in the right way.
Nice.
Okay. It's looking parsable. I think we can worry about casing later. Results equals query dot split, and this is just going to be terms. Okay. Would probably be nice to put it in a map as well. It's a little more useful. Is there any shorthand for just taking an array of arrays into a map in?
I think dot reduce. And then you're gonna have to define it. Or actually, maybe there's a shortcut. Let me see. Two-dimensional.
Right.
I guess that makes sense.
It works.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So presumably now I have a way of getting map of things that our query is. wondering if should that also be part of the state? Like probably something like either
Maybe
parsed
params.
query. Yeah, params. That way other things can maybe write to them and then modify the query through that way. Okay.
I guess the only thing that this doesn't capture is the rest of the words.
Right.
We can get that from like basically doing line number 9 again, but filtering for the opposite and then doing a join.
Yeah, and just excluding everything that didn't match there. So actually first just want to split this up and then do multiple filters. That's naming. I basically want a variable name that's like everything else.
The other thing that Shahruz mentioned earlier that might be effective filtering is when the array is of length 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we could just say this is the actual text equals split dot filter by array length and then dot flat and then maybe join. And let's see what that looks like. Okay. We build this whole thing. So
would it make sense to just kind of be running this page as well? Because then you can just like parse some random thing.
Yeah,
that's consistent as well.
That's a good idea. Results. I'm always like, is it in my mind, especially with web projects like this, I'm like, oh, it's so far from running on web, and there's like going to be many things that are broken before then. But I tend to forget that we already have like all of this here.
And then you might want to set something to parse as well, or like call parse query.
Yeah,
oh, perfect, yeah.
Yes.
So set, it's like on change, you kind of want to call both of them. I think one would be set query and then parse query.
So that it gets the query
like
after the kind of like.
What you had should have worked. What it was barking about was a TypeScript thing. Both of those things would have been functionally the same, either doing it inline or separating it out. But right now on line 5, the state, according to TypeScript, it thinks it's only supposed to be like an empty thing like that. So before before the opening parentheses, if you do less than and then greater than, just to kind of give it a scope. And then inside that, I think record with the capital R. And then another less than. And then the type of the key, which in this case is a string. And then the type of the value, which is also a string after a comma. Yeah.
Got it.
Lowercase string.
Yeah, lowercase string. So this is like very similar to like a mapping in Solidity, but it's basically just defining the types.
Yep.
Now I think if you do set query, parse query, and you're on change, it should be okay with you doing that.
Cool. I think, at least to me, this is a little more readable inline, but also is our semicolons not allowed.
You might have to throw
a whole block around it. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's probably it.
Just throw random syntax places until it works.
Exactly. Yeah, this is looking better. Let's see. I probably need to break this out into something a little more useful. Let me see here. So our named results
Kind of special.
will,
Yeah. So you're always one character behind here for one of like React's kind of tricky ways that it works.
Oh,
The
yeah.
set query is asynchronous. So parse query is getting called before React even knows that it's got that extra character.
That's amazing.
So the ideal way of doing this is a use effect for now, and then that'll help us later on as well for a reason I can explain. So if below the block of parse query, if you do use effect,
below the block here.
Yeah. Yep, and then put like define a function, so parentheses and then arrow syntax. Yep, and then here you can call parse query inside. And then the second parameter of a use effect, so after the closing after the curly, is an array of dependencies. So basically, anytime this value changes, it's going to call that effect. So for our case, just the query string is what we want to measure it against.
That's neat. That's very neat. Now, does this get removed from here then? Okay.
Because it'll just call that effect automatically anytime the value of query changes.
Got it.
What's nice about this, the reason it's going to be really helpful later on too, is right now what we're doing is every time you change the value, it's both updating the state so that it renders that value within the text box, and then it's also calling parse query. Very soon, that chain of events is also going to include a network request to the graph, right?
Yeah.
And what you don't want it doing is every single key press, it's immediately doing another network request. You want to debounce it and say like,
I'm assuming that's where we can kind of get into that loop and slow it down, right?
And so the use effect thing will work really nicely with debouncing so that we can always kind of wait, 300 milliseconds or whatever we want.
Yep, that sounds very helpful. Okay.
Nope.
That is not working yet, but nothing there. And let's see what multiple words looks like in between.
Nice.
Pretty much. I think what we can do is figure out how to get this back into a string, although I'm fine to keep it as an array because we might need to like send it into other things, split it back up. So might as well just have a so params next. When I do set params, is it possible to only pass in a single key at once without overriding the rest, or should I construct the whole params object and just override it?
There's maybe a hybrid approach. Basically, by default, it wants you to define the entire object. What you can do is there's like sort of a partial syntax where you're destructuring the object and then reconstructing it in line. So set params, it accepts both a new state, but it also accepts a function. So what you can do here is say like, underscore params, and then arrow syntax for a function. And now that underscore params is always the current thing. So in your return value, you can do ... params, and then comma, and then whatever you want to override.
And this is the rest of the block.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you want to wrap the first curly braces with either a parentheses or with another curly braces in a return statement. Because right now it's thinking that you're
so you want to specify block instead of a code block, basically. Yeah. Okay, that wasn't here. Oh gosh, I've got myself all mixed up here. So we just want to add one more around this.
So before the ... because you want to tell it that it's a
only for
function.
the return.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so you're not going to need another opening curly braces after params, because now you can just start defining the names of the values.
I see. Like, okay. That makes sense. Now, how we take the list of arrays that looks like this, which we already have in a map.
You had
So
the object thing earlier, but I think you deleted it. It was previously.
Yep.
Return.
Yep. I think I have that in here somewhere. Nope. It was in here.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Um.
And you want to deconstruct this one too.
Deconstruct as
Or
in.
destructure ... Yep.
Mm-hmm. That was easier than I thought. Yeah, definitely. Definitely would not have come up with this in any reasonable amount of time. And I guess we could just do that for the rest of them. But something is complaining now. Oh, because
It's
not recognizing that as
It wants that to be a string as well, I suppose.
Then I think we just join it with empty strings again.
Yep.
Cool. So what does this mean now? I guess every time we do onChange query, maybe inside of here we can just log what we set them to.
There's an extra semicolon.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
So I think this
funny.
is where the deconstructing the params might actually not be what we want to do, because it's going to keep writing to it.
Yes.
So just construct the whole object from scratch.
Yeah, I guess because we have both of these in here, it is fine
Yeah.
to just override it every time. Because we're taking the query and query is not being modified by us. Okay, let's see what that feels like. Is in red.
Got our keys and values backwards.
Yeah. I was trying to
Value key
grok
to
one.
KV.
Yes. Okay. I'm assuming this is happening here
Just
somewhere.
flip the K and the V and the.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the right place to flip. That it feels like semantically you could go a couple different ways, but all right, let's just check.
Nice.
Yeah, that's better. Regular text is here. So that's just text. Is author may have disappeared, or it's just not fitting in here.
Author got dropped.
Oh, it's back now.
But it came back.
One thing that I noticed that might have some effect on that is that you're logging the params within the function. So
Yes.
it's being logged right after you do the set params call. But again, that's asynchronous, so it's not necessarily going to catch it. If you move the console.log outside of that function, now this is going to run on every render, which only happens after the state has been fully updated.
Mm-hmm.
So it should catch a more accurate state. I don't know if that's the cause of the author thing, but
that sounds So I guess this is one thing that doesn't fit into my head always, is that everything in here runs on every re-render. And that's why, I guess, why we're returning HTML, because you do need some way of like reconstructing that. Is there any like weirdness about where functions are defined within this block? Or is that like just all optimized? In other words, do I need to worry about redefining things within loops and stuff here, and the cost of that?
no, it's also negligible.
Cool.
I think you only need to worry about it once it's like causing an actual noticeable issue.
Nice. Great. Think we're working. Wonderful.
Sweet.
Thanks for bearing with me through that. That was parsing. Okay.
I mean, I didn't know how all that worked. I mean, I've been around. I didn't know.
We both learned a lot today, Dave. We both
It's
learned a lot.
crazy bonkers, yeah.
Okay. So this is where I have I've never used GraphQL in a React context, but I'm assuming there's a pretty like friendly library that just links that up. We're not going to be writing raw queries or constructing them. Any suggestions on which direction to go for that? Basically, GraphQL within React.
One of these might work. I ended up constructing like a thing using 2 low-level libraries for my own stuff. But I think Apollo client probably works. I just don't have any experience with it.
Cool. Although, I mean, if you do have experience with your low-level thing, is it like a package or?
It's basically GraphQL-request, which will handle the actual functional request, but it's JavaScript, so it'll work in any context. And then use SWR, which will be the kind of React hook and auto updating and refresh kind of fetch kind of library.
Got it.
Use SWR. Stale while revalidate is what it's short for. So no L either.
Nope. I'm mishearing things.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I think the SWR docs probably have an example for GraphQL request as well, somewhere in there. Maybe under examples in the header. There you go. There you go.
Documentation.
Oh, nice. This is pretty clean. Seems reasonable to me. Is the other one just SWR or was it a different name for?
Just SWR, yeah.
Cool.
You might want to have that be outside of the function scope because your query variable name has already been used inside.
Yeah, though I was imagining.
You want to type it as a string, give it a type. That's my guess what it's complaining about.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. But I think I was wondering if we're passing in our query or params or whether we want like a layer in between the two.
If you hit the multiple arguments link below, that'll probably be more relevant because what it's doing in that current example is just like a fixed kind of query.
Exactly.
What this will allow you to do is pass in variables.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And I guess there's probably something that you try not to like inject via random strings. Like pass it through this as opposed to just like using, like modifying that single string and injecting variables into it.
Right. I'm still trying to grok this whole set of flows here.
Yeah, I pasted in a link for kind of a generic use query I wrote for internet camera. Might be useful as a reference. Although it's not 100% copy pastable because it's got some specific code.
Sure,
here.
but yeah, this is already is more readable. Okay. We're gonna want to define this as well for TypeScript, right? maybe not all this, but the query, the URL, and any options that we want to pass in.
Mhm.
Are the variables something different? Or are they relevant?
So the
to this?
variables are probably what we are going to pass the queries into. The SWR options are specific to that library, which include things like how often do you want it to refresh automatically? Do you want it to refresh if you tab out and tab back in?
Yeah.
It gives you all sorts of little convenience kind of methods like that.
Got it.
A nice shortcut for when there's imports that you don't have yet is command period. And then it will pop those in right for you.
Beautiful.
Or you
That
you
may
want to make
not
sure
be-
it's yeah.
Yep, actual. So, okay. This is not quite our case here, and then use is defined.
Did you install it? You did.
Yes, I believe so. I might just not be picking it up yet, or sometimes there's like the weirdest collisions.
Yeah.
With who knows what. Use.
I think use SWR would be outside of the scope of the yeah, because it's the default export.
Okay.
Cool. So what it's doing here, use SWR, the first parameter, that line 14, it's here's all the data that we want to pass into the query function. The reason for that last parameter there is as a kind of deduplication thing. So what SWR does is it takes that first parameter, uses it as a key across the context of the entire page. So if you're calling two things with similar queries in different spots, you just want to be able to kind of add that last key in there to make sure that they're not overriding each other.
Okay.
So one example why I had to put this in is certain places I'm doing a query for a specific address, say like a film address in the context of a camera. But sometimes I just want to query for what the latest photo is. Sometimes I want to query for like all the film data. So if I'm only passing in the film address and use SWR is using that as the key, it's going to take the new data and overwrite it everywhere. So that extra kind of string thing at the end is saying, hey, specifically, this is what I'm querying for.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we're invalidating some sort of cache, but before even that. So it's just like this is
or like namespacing it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So this would maybe be something like just home search or something.
Yep.
Cool. And is there, what was in your context the difference between, I mean, if query is a string and then this is a string, but it was taken from a list of variables.
Yeah.
I'm still a little hazy on, will we be using variables right now, or do we want to keep the structure, or getting rid of this?
We'll be using it because that's what we're going to be passing our query into. So the query as the first parameter here on line 15 is kind of a generic like GraphQL formatted query string, where it's got like blocks, opening brackets, and then all sorts of data below. The variables you want to pass in separately as a parameter, just because that's how the GraphQL request library accepts them. You don't want to be doing a string literal on the query.
I see. So
based on their recommendation.
These are basically two parts. The first one is like the static definition, and the second part is like the things that will fill them in.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. And then I guess we just define that outside of use query. We're going to send both in. So okay. Although let me make sure I understand the rest of what's going on here. We send this whole query in. This is, I'm assuming, your actual endpoint to hit.
Yeah.
So this is your integration with your GraphQL. But so
I can rewrite that function here, because I think I just did that as a convenience method. So it's also in the the non-React stuff, but here's what that function is doing. I just pasted it into Discord. It's basically just return GraphQL request, and then whatever the URL for the graph URL is. And then the first parameter, which is GQL in this case, and then the second parameter is variables. So here, if we were to rewrite that, it would be request it would look more like that in our case here.
Okay.
With
Yep.
and this is what our actual API URL is.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That'll go somewhere safer later. Base.
Yeah, so the query itself.
Maybe I'll open up the graphs editor
Yeah.
for now and just base it off that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
I think that is it, but I can paste it.
There was an API subdomain. Just might have thrown it off. Thank you. Okay. Probably just get something in for now and modify later and just make sure the whole flow works. Would I literally define this as like a multi-line something here? Well, that's probably not the syntax here.
There's one modifier that they want you to put in, which is GQL in front of the, which I think you may have to import from that GraphQL request.
And is this
equal sign?
Equal.
Before the graph, after the graph query.
That would be helpful, yes. Okay, now it's recognizing that string. It knows how to parse that. Okay, and how are we going to, maybe let's do that now. At least put in one per variable.
Let's maybe do that second, because I think debugging is going to get much more complex.
That's very true. So we could just pass in an empty array, or just one empty
object.
Cool. Okay. So this is our parse query.
Like makes sense.
So graph URL is optional there. Or no, sorry. Yeah, so because GraphQL is optional there, but I think you can just get rid of the optional modifier.
Yeah, I was also wondering if we do want to pass it in every time.
Don't need to.
Versus just defining it, because I'm assuming we're really going to have only one endpoint from the graph.
It's going to be pretty constant, yeah.
Cool. So this, I don't know if this is the safe or the right place to put.
Makes sense to me.
This or like an environment variable, but it's not a secure thing necessarily, so it's fine to put in here too. Yeah,
I think environment variable will probably make the most sense. But yeah, I guess for now that's probably okay. We also don't need to pass that in anymore. Make that a little simpler. Both of those are optional. And this goes away. Request.
Still need to pass it in there. Or graph URL.
Oh, that's right. That's looking better. It's being unpacked here. No. Nothing is red yet. That is my sign. Maybe say run this down here and just tell us what happened. Anything obvious missing now, or should we try it out? And yeah, this happened. Network request failed. Okay, well that's something.
I think when
Cross origin.
Sorry, go ahead. When you opened up the when you clicked on the link from Discord for the API endpoint, I think it put a slash, like another thing at the end. So maybe just try copy pasting it from Discord.
Yes.
I think it changed something. Yeah.
I did see that link change, but I assumed that was HTTPS or something. Yeah. Huh.
Hopefully that's it.
That looks friendlier. Wow. Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Response is very fast.
It is extremely fast. I didn't even realize I was sending that many queries at first. Okay, well, that's exciting. Guess onto variables.
Yep.
But we will have some interesting problems upon this very, very shortly. Namely, author mapping could be something we like either do or do later. Order by is still going to be dynamic, and we might need to figure out how that's sort of in the state and stuff.
So I'm
wondering if we maybe just start with type.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, and just like if we have kind of layout for that, then I think it'll be simple enough to add more things.
Yeah. Because I think some of that stuff like author mapping, I kind of have taken a look at it through Shahruz's code now. So it should be relatively portable to this as well.
Cool.
I think the one thing that might be tricky here is the ENS conversion.
Yeah.
You have to manually set that up.
Yep, that's what I was imagining. Yeah, I think that makes sense to do later. Is there any special?
I think it's where is the thing that you have to type to. Yeah.
Am I doing equals or colon?
I think it's where colon, and then it's like a JavaScript object. So you got to do the brackets around it.
Oh, around the whole thing.
Yeah.
Single quotes or a different type of quote?
I think where needs a colon after it, and maybe that'll fix it. Or not.
Maybe it wants double quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Let's just make sure that's working. Yes, it is.
What if you do type photo?
Nice. So there's a special syntax for variable inclusion in GraphQL, which you might want to Google because I don't remember it offhand. But they basically want you to avoid overwriting the string literal, and they want you passing the variables in separately into a fixed query kind of format. So there's some $ like inclusion syntax here. I think variables is I think on that page there was like a variables tab on the right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe before this, because this is, yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
So okay.
Essentially, I think you're
Makes
wrapping.
sense.
Yeah.
The only thing is, this has nothing to do with the query, right? That's just their object structure.
Yeah.
The
So
fact
for
that-
ours, it's block or blocks.
Cool. Yeah. So
Dollar type, because
Type.
that's going to be the variable going in, I think.
yeah. Yep. And then in here, really actually want to pass in our existing parameters, but maybe, yeah, let's do that. Why not?
So there's a line in the example that they had that you have to wrap the query line up top. Yeah. So you still have to wrap the query in something similar.
Oh, I see. Oh wait, which? So
Right
right
there.
now we're not specifying query at all, right? So we actually want to add that now.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's the name of the variable and then the type of the variable.
Sounds right. Although they have an object
Might
type
be
here,
string
I think.
type.
Well, because I think that's their type.
Exactly.
Yeah, episode.
Graphql types.
Capital string, I think.
Capital S string. That's what we have. And is there's a special way to wrap that? That just closes and opens. Okay. It's looking somewhat normal. I wonder if we shove this back into this parser, will it understand what we're saying? Invalid.
You have to.
Because
be
I
able
don't
to
know how
call
you
that.
pass it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that we don't expect that to work anyway. So that's fine.
There might be another website that has it.
Let's just go back to here. Let's see what's going on. Type text. I mean, I can't quite tell if this is working.
Something that should return 0.
Yeah, let's try type photo.
Yep, empty array.
Wow, that just seems like a little too easy and simple. Great.
Funny, most of the time spent was on Regex.
Yeah. The part where we're searching a single string rather than like an entire distributed database was the harder part. There's truly something amazing around that. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I guess maybe just for fun, we can also add in the raw content text as well. And maybe just do very, very simple, like contains anywhere. So basically, Params is a string of strings, and content is going to be one long string. So we will probably need to split it back up.
There
also
might need to. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that it may sometimes also be empty, and we may have nothing there. So those are just one other consideration. You were going to say?
I think for full text search on the graph, there's probably an update that we have to do on the graph instance to just define like, here's the fields that we want you to index for full text search.
Yep. Do y'all want to do that now, or just maybe get a little more of the UI together, and maybe like the sort button. I think I'm fine with either. Both sound quite relevant.
I would vote for the second because I think we're already in that context.
Mm-hmm.
Versus trying to set up the graph again. Might be good to do async or another synchronous session.
Makes sense.
All right. And that's just going to be like schema modifying effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think you just need to tell the graph like, hey, these fields, please do a full text index on them.
Perfect.
So, sorting, I think, makes sense. It's just going to be part of our state. This little mechanic with the different buttons selected could be interesting. And just to double check, this is not clickable at all, Dave, right? That's purely visual. It's just one. Okay, cool. Although one other thing that we may want to figure out right now before we go further is getting these results tied into state and sort of deciding where blocks live.
Should be relatively easy enough. The state is already there. So I forget what file it's in, but it might be called like state.tsx. And then there's the block store, and then you can import this use block store and then call those functions in whatever way you want. So I guess initially on the page load, it would be set blocks and then just transforming that GraphQL query into a block view.
Transforming the query into a block view.
Like
what do you mean by that?
the raw objects that you're going to get back from the query from the graph. Turning that into an object that we know how to handle.
So into the TypeScript definition of a block.
Effectively, yes.
Cool.
So we're only ever going to call the set block function here, right?
I think so.
Do we ever need to read it from the overall store?
I don't think so. Not from here, anyway. Maybe in index, yes, but index is in a separate component.
So what we can do is not use the hook here, because what that would do is cause it to re-render potentially over and over again if some value changes. So instead of defining it here, what we can do is at the point where we want to actually run that setter function, we can just call it directly from there so that it's not an extra hook call that's being done.
I see.
Which maybe in this case is another effect, because now we want to look at like when our results.data changes. We want to perform a certain action.
Yep.
Does this mean we would actually import that function directly then?
I think the import is fine.
Okay.
It's more about
just
I think
being
where
called
it's
in a
being
different way.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say at this point we already have our results. This is all happening within one, and then
so use block store dot set state. Yep.
Keep
and then
of
blocks.
Okay, so I guess before we do that, or maybe within this block, we also want to do what CJ mentioned, where we get our raw data into how we expect it to be. Maybe like results.map is kind of what I'm getting here.
I think it's results.data. Yeah.
And then yep, each
Blocks.
back to the text again.
Yep.
So it's pretty standard. Is there any shorthand magic that I'm looking for here?
How much do we actually have to modify it? Like,
I don't think-
is it already ready to be caught by TypeScript?
As far as I can tell, everything's a string. Everything looks safe.
So maybe we don't need to map anything.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
if it's already consistent with the typing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be very awesome.
So that should be an
Key
object.
definition.
So curly brackets and blocks.
Oh, like the whole thing.
Yeah. And then I think it's results.data.blocks. And then, yeah, we want to make sure that we include our dependency within the use effect so that it's it runs at the right times.
And
Outside.
how do we specify?
After the closing brackets, but before the closing parentheses, comma, and then an array of all the values that we want to check. So I think results.data, probably good. So now basically anytime results.data changes in value,
Oh,
it's
so
gonna
I
run that.
Yeah, I thought this had to be something that was, I guess, in React state, but this applies to just
Do whatever.
any. Oh, well, that's neat. Very neat. Wow. Okay. So, queries thing sent off, get back blocks back, put them into the state. Is anything in here needing to change to tell us to listen and rewrite, or
It's already
is
there.
this all here? Okay. Results.data is undefined. Oh, because I think initially, at the very least, it may be nothing. Should we maybe say?
You can do, so recent versions of JavaScript have a nice conditional operator. So you can do results ? .data anywhere that it's using results.data right now. So I think in the dependency, if you do results ?
What?
Yeah. So basically, if the value is undefined, it's just going to
wow.
return undefined at that point, and then not mark you.
That's nice. That is really neat.
Might still be getting called somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, in there.
Yeah. That's actually brilliant. Wow.
Data might also need one.
Right. Blocks is undefined.
Oh, because we're passing it undefined. So I think, sorry. I think instead of doing the question marks here, just do if, not results return before it calls that thing. So it just cancels out. Because I think what's happening here is we're overriding it with an undefined value.
Yeah, and makes sense. So basically, this is a separate instance of this. But here, we're really just like passing an undefined, and as such, just return like that.
Yeah, I think maybe if not results ? .data, just so that sometimes it's possible that results exist, but not results.data. So I think that should be good.
And if we got to this point, then it.
Yeah, that's guaranteed.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, that was cool
Close.
seeing things happen. Yes. View.block is undefined, so there's no guarantee that there's a single block. But what file was that in? It was in block tsx. So how did block get? Oh. Wait, no, I'm not sure I actually understand what's going on. View.block. So block, the component is still initialized, but then it actually is not being created as far as I can tell.
I wonder if, what is view here? Maybe what I would usually do at this point is comment out the lines 14 through 16 on index, which is where it's breaking, and then just do like a JSON preview, of your blocks, just to kind of see what data do you actually have there.
Yeah.
And how does it map to what you expect?
It's looking like a pretty healthy block. Don't see too much weird. So we do know we have one block in our results.
So the problem here is that if you look at the block view structure itself, it's containing some view parameters as well, and block is defined inside of it.
Yes.
So I think that's the mismatch here.
Yeah. So
like my guess is if you literally just throw block, like a key in front of that, it should work. Like the key block in front of the query bar thing.
Yep.
I totally forgot that I muted myself. I've been saying this. I was like, what's going on?
Sorry, yeah. Where did you say, sorry, before the query though?
So go into the query bar file. And then now where that blocks is, just throw another key, like you might need to map this again or something.
Yeah. Okay.
You could also do on the index where it's destructuring the block. If you just do block equals block there, like block equals and then bracket block. Basically, the way that the key equals is working before it. Yeah.
This way.
So drop the ... and then move block equals before the opening bracket.
Will this work?
And then I think in your block preview, you have to say that it can accept a block object.
Block preview. What exactly is that? Is that
yeah?
A definition?
So in the block, sorry, in the block component. Click in and then scroll up a little bit to where the type definition is. Oh, it does accept a block.
Yeah, so I think it's just how it's keyed and valued here. I don't know if there's a better way to be doing this. Or does it, is it, there's something like that this block is not required? Oh, it's...
Can you hover over the underline?
I think the problem here is that there's like a fundamental mismatch in type. Right, so blocks, that's this like constant up here is the use block store, which is expecting a block view type. So I suppose if you were to do block dot block, it might think that that is the correct thing. But I think that's why it was destructed before, is because it's just passing in that whole view parameters in one shot.
Yeah. Okay.
This might also work, but it might remove some of the like functionality that was there for like view and editing and stuff like that. If it was default in the edit state.
So should we maybe just create a new object here that is the combination? I guess at this point, yeah, I'm wondering if we should be changing what our state looks like versus changing what block accepts. Or do we kind of just write this intermediary?
I think intermediary, just like get it working, and then we'll have a better sense of how to standardize like state formatting around that.
Yeah, that feels right. This is where I think I need to define the type of this as OS block.
It'll be a colon. And then just OS block from there. Or I guess it depends. I think it might be block view or something like this. I forget. Or
I guess we'll find out. Well, isn't this just going to be an object? This is the object that we're going to be passing in here. Right. So So what does block expect?
So I'm
expect?
confused. I'm confused what this intermediary step is doing. Yeah, like I think the best thing to do is just create the proper type. And if you do that, I think it would solve the problem like most effectively.
Proper type at which level?
At query. Like you don't need to modify anything about block or index. Like that can stay how it is or like how it was initially. And then just in the query, just add the parameters. Like there's defaults on it, so you just really need to wrap it in the proper type. So I think doing that might be kind of a pain here because you'll have to map these blocks into the block view and contain it one further time.
Which is like including the editing and collapse states. Is that right?
They are optional, so by default they should be there. But I think it's just needing that one key for blocks. So I don't know if there's a better pattern here to do this and pass parameters in, but this is, I think, why it's failing.
This is sort of what I meant with the intermediary stuff. I guess that this seems like a reasonable place to do that, and don't have to change too much outside of this for now.
Yeah.
Still don't know if combined, if this is the best word for this, but I guess maybe just converted for now. So I'm going to take that. How do we do just a basic object to object type conversion here?
If you wrap the curly brackets in parentheses, it'll return that for you. And then if you do block and then :B, I think that should be sufficient.
Block is not imported yet. Where is it?
I think
just lowercase. Oh. And then make sure you're passing the converted into the set state.
Yeah, you're also, I think you might need to just give B as any for this case.
Yeah.
And converted probably an array of any or something. I'm not sure what it's complaining about.
Find out soon enough. Still feel like we're missing.
You're missing one there.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe try getting rid of the any definitions if it still works. Cool. Okay.
So it's just this
you
one.
You might need it there. Yeah.
Cool.
In index, it might be helpful to have that other one as well, just to make sure that we're getting what we expect as well. But
yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Wow. That's kind of just plugging in and doing its thing. Amazing. Do we want to maybe add a debounce while we're at it? Because I do feel bad for slamming the API like every keystroke.
They are very fast, but yes.
Yeah.
How does a debounce work?
Basically, it's anytime there's an update, it sets a timeout that says, "Hey, wait, 300 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds or whatever before you execute this." And then whenever there's another update that comes in before that 500 seconds or whatever time is elapsed, it says, "Hey, cancel that previous timer, set a new timer." So it's basically always waiting for like 500 milliseconds or whatever you define of just like no activity before it actually processes the network request. John, I think if you go to the second link, you'll have, yeah.
Oh.
The whole website.
This is a big example here, but all we're really going to be doing is this, as far as I can tell. Use effect.
And I think use debounce is defined a little lower.
Oh, this isn't a oh, they're telling you how to write the whole hook here.
Yeah.
Not just
So I think if you just copy this into a
cool. Probably into here.
I think the number is lowercase.
Nice. Okay, that we have this, nothing special is happening in here, right? So it's really just everything is within this too.
Yep. And then you're going to change the dependency on the effect to listen to the debounced version of it after.
Does that mean we want two different ones? Or do we want to modify this query with debounced?
I think just the query, because the params are the
no, I get that.
Go ahead.
I'm saying, do we basically make a new debounce query, or do we wrap this query? Okay. Debounce around query and the 300.
300 seems reasonable.
And then this dependency is now updated. Let's see.
Oh, is it supposed to be doing anything yet? If you do type photos and type text, and do type photos? No, it's still pretty instant. Oh
yeah, I'm watching this and I'm trying to.
There is like a slight lag between them.
Yeah, so something
you're
something
logging
changed.
the query, not the debounce query. That's what's going on.
Oh.
So because it's still going to re-render on every time. So maybe put a log into the use query function that just says like querying, and that way we can actually see like when is it actually hitting the network.
Yeah.
Still pretty instant.
Yeah. I'm curious. I also might have fat fingered something with the copy paste from here. Let's just double check.
In the in your use query, are you using the debounced one? Because that might also be it. I know params. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's downstream, but they are doing some like weird stuff here with state in terms of set is searching. I don't think that applies to us.
I think that's probably for like a spinner or something that they want in the UI.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So it's not control flow. Okay. So that seems okay.
I think it's because params is changing. Maybe instead of debouncing the query, we debounce the params and see if that, because what we're passing to the use query is params, not the query itself.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll
because I guess we don't have a problem with query being set a lot of times. I guess it's params that we want to. Okay. And then that means this becomes debounced params, but parse query is now.
No, that should go back to being query because we still want parse query to run. But I guess now to the use query, our hook that calls the network, we want to send the debounced params.
Yeah. So I mean, we actually want to add. Oh, and how does this become its own hook?
So basically, right here, instead of sending params, we want to send the debounce.
Oh, debounce params. Oh, and that's
Yeah.
it. Oh,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I see. Let's give it a go. Still bouncing around. So we have the querying. We have params. Since it's probably in milliseconds, not something smaller.
Could you log the debounced params as well as the params, just to kind of see if there's a lag there?
At which level, though? Inside of?
I think right below 64. I wonder if these will look out of sync.
Yes.
They are out of sync.
Oh, okay. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
So, yep. So in other words,
you change the delay to be higher, is it still querying every time, even though it's debounced? Is that the issue? Is like it's just delaying at 300 milliseconds effectively?
no,
That's what we want. Yeah.
But it shouldn't just delay it. It should like only query once.
Exactly.
Right?
It's effectively rate limited as well.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell quite what's happening here.
Well, yeah, I think increasing that number may make it clear. Let's see. Just 1,000. So I think what's happening is we're rerunning query.
Yeah.
Every time we're re-rendering.
Oh,
even though
you need
params
to wrap it in a use effect, huh?
Maybe look at just what's going on in the network tab.
Well, no.
It's possible the logging is happening every time because it's the rendering is being called, but the network request isn't actually happening then.
That would be interesting. Let's see. Yeah.
It's waiting a sec.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's already working, right? We're just logging in the wrong places potentially.
Yeah. I guess it is interesting though that the log statement, I mean, was emitted by a console log statement, but there is like weirder things happening about what's running and what's not.
I think maybe because the logic is happening inside the use SWR, where we would be, trying to determine if it's actually sending a network request or not.
Yep. Okay. I guess we are.
But it is successfully debouncing it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a little.
The logging is a little strange.
Yeah. That's okay. Sort all that out. I guess a second is probably a little too long. I think let's just go back to 300. Okay, that's working. We also can get rid of that JSON preview. Right, where was that? Oh, that was just there. Okay. Cool. Maybe while we're here, also a default call. So this, I guess, goes all the way back to I think that very first question, which is what does query have initially, and do we want to now have it make a call right off the bat, or and just move away from our sample JSON data entirely to maybe just a blank query?
That would be pretty great.
Maybe blank or could be your wallet, I guess. I mean, because the author effectively, so that you're seeing your stuff.
Yeah, that feels right. Where is blocks originally being set? Because it's in state, but we are putting we're loading the JSON data from somewhere.
It's
So-
probably in state TSX.
Yeah, most likely.
Mhm. Okay, so
I think.
is
this
there any weird like order of operations stuff we have to worry about the fact that query bar is initialized maybe after and it doesn't really know what's basically we should probably just set this to nothing for now, like an empty array.
Mhm.
And then when query bar is initialized, as soon as it's firing off, we can just say the default query is just going to run, and because nothing else is being passed in, will that work? Basically, in other words, is there anything else I need to do to tell query bar that it can just run an empty
It'll be fine.
query? Should be fine.
So I think we're basically just changing the starting default state.
Yeah.
What you might want to do though is start setting up multiple graph query options here. And then depending on like logged in state or
Mhm.
if the query string is empty or not, you
Yeah.
run a different one.
So maybe query all query type. And presumably those can be made into like, not SQL, objects that can kind of nest into each other and get generated in a pretty way. But for now, because we don't need any of that, we can just say this first 10 type. Although, because we're going to be passing in an author, we do still want that wrap. Hmm.
I think we're going to need 3 because there's a logged in state where we have an author address and there's a logged out state where we don't.
Mm-hmm. So kind of a var query default sort of business. Because this could just be the most recent. Well, yeah, what do we want in this query, if anything? So effectively this state right here.
Dave?
This is the logged out, like, or
Yep,
not
exactly. Before we've
authenticated
hit
state.
connect wallet, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea on this one. Like, yeah, who's doing this?
The-
Don't do this.
There's, yeah, there's,
Um,
I'm okay to leave it like this until then.
yeah, I think this is fine.
Don't do this.
Like, until we figure out what we want the Outland version to look like,
Yeah.
or be.
Right. Because effectively, nobody right now is going to be landing on this and being like, "Help, I'm
No.
confused." Yeah, so
Exactly.
fine.
I think
We can-
blank's fine.
We can put a picture here later of your dog.
Yep. Always put a duck in there. It's fine.
Mhm.
Yep.
We like ducks.
Buzzards. They're ducks. They're the buzzards of the ocean.
Yes. Not quite. Don't quite remember. Is account a string that is okay? This is the. Yep. So it's
That is a
undefined.
full address or undefined.
Perfect. Very easy to. So. Oh, no. We actually just want to say results is either nothing or.
Is it going to be debounce params or is it going to be?
I think still deep bounced, unless that.
Where's authors like getting referenced other than this ternary?
Author.
Because it's like a now parameter to that query, right?
Oh.
Or the account rather.
Yeah, the second, you're going to want both of the parameters that you're passing to use query to be dynamic. And then there's also a React hook kind of gotcha where you always need to call the hooks no matter what. They can't be put inside of a conditional. So I would have the use query always be there, always just getting called once, but then what it's being passed is dynamic, which you could set in variables above for both parameters.
Gotcha. Yep.
I have to jump onto another call in a minute, by the way, but I can.
Sure. No. I think
after this.
Well, yeah, I can clean up from here, but okay. So
right.
We've got two queries.
Yeah, Shahruz.
Yep.
So yeah.
I think we'll be able to get this working. So.
So I guess the thing that's going to be changing is like the query is going to be mutated as well as the parameters. But you want to set a default set of parameters.
And where would we want to do that? Up here somewhere. Although our default set is, I guess, an empty object here. So
actually, I even believe if you actually have to use an effect to set them. I ran into this previously, so setting it there actually doesn't do anything.
I see. Author.
Yeah. It's just a count. Yeah.
Although it could be undefined, which oh yeah, string or undefined is not assignable to just string. So I guess if
I don't know if that works either. Does it work? Okay.
I guess if account does not equal undefined, then set them to that. Otherwise, they are blank. And then down here, results
so I guess
always
the query that you want to use is also going to be defined. So I'm guessing like whatever query is in use query is just going to be called like query or, you know, whatever. I mean, I'm not sure exactly because you're going to be passing in these different like queries themselves.
Yeah.
So
So basically, at what level do we specify that basically?
Yeah, I have a feeling that it might be simple to like, or it might be better just like
maybe write a
really simple
single query. And
single query could be helpful, and then just change the parameters going into it. But I don't know if it
Yeah.
allows defaults and these kind of things. Is the issue
Yeah.
with that?
let's see. So default or query variable. It looks like, although I'm not sure if,
Not sure how input is used.
yeah, but let's see where this goes. Oh gosh, that's taking the spec file. Optional, we don't want optional, we want default.
Maybe perhaps just staying with what we have is easier too,
Yeah,
instead of trying to mess with something new.
Yeah. so
It's like kind of just
think-
defining which states you're going to be picking these from, but
Mhm.
how it's written now might not match up very cleanly with like how the parameters are actually like coming in themselves.
Yeah,
But maybe the best thing to do is just have a signed in state and a signed out state. So it's like if the count exists, then query the author, otherwise query nothing.
hmm And that determination, would that be made here or inside use query? Because now I'm getting a little confused with when what runs. In other words, that signed in state switch, we're already doing it once here. Would this maybe be the time to also say,
Yes,
okay,
I think so.
yeah,
Right. So I don't know what query is supposed to be being like the query that's set here is like the raw query from the query bar. So I don't know if it needs a new name, and that's like some new variable that's getting set. That I'm not sure about. Because like that, what is it? The use query like function itself is taking some input.
hmm
It's really hard to not. I'm struggling to follow as well.
yeah. I think the word query here is like starting to melt my brain, but
Like, yeah, I need to understand what that use query function is doing.
yes,
Right. What is it taking as parameters?
string, which
is the actual GraphQL query itself.
Exactly. So it's this.
Right. So let's call it like GQL query. Well, I mean, that's one way
In
to
here.
do it. But like that GQL query is going to be set dynamically in the very first conditional that you had up there. Right. Right. It'll be null when the author is not set, but it'll be, or an empty string probably, but it'll be the actual like variable when it is set.
I think I'm starting to see it. Yes.
And I'm not sure if that's something that needs to be as part of the state or not.
Yeah, maybe better to, well, yeah, because it in some way is stateful.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling that this might cause problems because it really should only be updated.
Yes.
Like this probably will get updated every render when it really only needs to be run the very first time.
Yeah, optimize that later day. Oh, I guess we also have our default definition, so we don't need to specify that because it could just be
empty string probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to specify GQL around the empty string or not, but
guess we'll find out.
So now in the use query, you need to pass in that GraphQL.
Oh, yeah. Query.
Yep.
That was a bit of a tangled something.
Querying empty string. Yeah.
So I guess let me connect. Oh,
Yeah,
Infinite
yeah.
loop.
So this is the problem, is because it's basically like rendering every time.
Yep.
I think it does need to be part of state, and then an effect on top of it is my guess. That's only like changing when the um,
Yes.
is- you know, I came into this call extremely tired as it was, so like this is not helping.
I know. I know.
I went for a bike ride and I didn't realize how dehydrated I was. I came home and I just tried to like not pass out.
Yeah. No worries. I am.
And like this is probably something that would be relatively easily to like take asynchronously as well.
True. Yeah, I'm fine to hop off here, and probably get the rest of this hooked up like within a day or so. Yeah, really up to you and Dave and Kristen. Like, I'm good for another 20 minutes, or we can kind of call it an end here. I just feel like it's really close, and I'm like, I want to go there, but I also know that, like, I'm also pretty exhausted, and it'll only get rougher from here. So
It's up to you. I mean, if you feel like you're there, but if the ROI here, like if you're just like
Yeah.
looking for something and it's not there because your braid's off.
yeah, I feel like I'm looking at like another 20 minutes here. And maybe like run to the bathroom, get a glass of water, and I'll be good to continue. CJ, you feel free to like hop off though, or stick
I'll
around. It's up to
just
you.
like hang around and like try not to.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it should be relatively straightforward as well.
Yeah, like we're like almost there, and I at this point I'm just like I want to see block
Yeah.
stuff here. So yeah, be back in like 4 minutes and continue then.
Cool. I'll
Yeah,
put
I'm
on
gonna
some
run.
pants.
Wow.
All right. The whole time, pantsless.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom too.
Nah, BRB.
Everyone's running.
How long was your ride?
It was like 15 miles. I think I just haven't ridden in a while, so I got my ass whooped.
Mhm.
I didn't realize like how bad it was going to be, but it's like there's a pretty big hill on Torrey Pines, or there's the Torrey Pines hill. It's like 800
Yeah,
feet
yeah.
at like
I've
10%
done that
grade the
one
whole time.
a couple times. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fun climb. I mean, it's just sort of a slog, but yeah, if you're pushing it.
Yeah, I was at like 179 heart rate the whole time, or like 170 to 179. So I'm like maxing out on this hill. I've got to the top fully out of breath.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like the altitude here has been doing that too. Like going up, like there's like 3 flights of stairs in the hostel, and I'm just like winded every time. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, this has been like very instructive because I've never seen anything tied together like this. So like in real time, effectively.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear, because this usually I'm not bouncing between this many levels of abstraction either.
I imagine.
Because usually it's kind of like, well, we already have the structure. You're just like going in, modifying a little bit, or well, here, holy shit, this has been this has been fun.
I mean, it's coming together. It's cool.
It definitely is.
query, and then yeah, that can get removed, and then this can probably get wrapped. Let's think about this. So I have a feeling one thing that you can do here is wrap this in another like use effect.
Mhm.
So it basically like the whole thing, the conditional itself.
Mm.
And then yeah, like do this whole thing inside that conditional, and then have it be
Dependent on
that little syntax at the top.
Yep. That's not gonna...
Yeah, and then it would be only on author. So only when author changes does this use effect run. So it should only run very occasionally. This might not be the proper thing once we are fully integrated and if you changed accounts, but it also might be correct. There might be some like funky stuff that happens here. So now this should only run, and then I'm guessing like after you set this GQL query, you probably want to try to render the state. Yeah, that thing.
Effectively use query, right?
Yeah, effectively use query.
Although, given that we call it once here with debounce params, no, okay. Yeah, I was thinking maybe wrap it in a function, but I don't think we need to do that yet.
It could cause some problem, but let's see. I think it'll be okay.
One way to find out.
Yeah, I think the only, yeah.
Okay, so hooks can only be called inside the body. We have variable name.
The use query can only be called. It can't be called in this.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
I think that's what it's saying. So you might just have to delete this line and let it do its thing. Because then when it updates, it should refresh the state and then hopefully work.
Yep. So right now, nothing really. Well, it's still querying, but okay, it just doesn't know what to query by. So now, if we
say it queried something.
I guess it is reasonable that it's not picking anything up because I don't think I've published anything. So wait, no.
Yeah, that's. Is it actually querying via the author?
In theory.
In theory.
In theory.
Okay.
We all need to post now, so we can get our results back.
Yeah.
You're on the test net, but your account has no money.
Oh no.
It might still work. Whatever. It's fine. I think it seems like it's fine.
It's free.
Yep.
It's free.
I guess it might take like hours for somebody to pick it up.
For what? To pick it up?
For somebody to actually confirm and sign it, because isn't that the whole?
Oh no. This is on the test nets.
Oh,
yeah,
I guess
so it'll happen really fast.
Okay,
like
But I'm saying
I already
zero
have it.
rewards.
I already have it from.
Oh,
I already
shit.
have it on the subgraph.
Holy fuck.
There you go.
It worked?
Yeah. I guess you can disconnect and find out.
Yeah.
Okay,
There you go.
little refresh, but yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't take
But
10
you
minutes.
would be surprised at what like a cookie in a glass of water could do. My brain is significantly
Gets
less.
you right back in the game.
Yeah.
Well, we got a personal block maker.
Yeah.
You have a personal block maker and viewer.
Yeah.
Yep. Sweet. I'd say
We
it's a good
bake
place
cookies
to-
and we take them out the oven.
yeah.
That was not a good metaphor at all.
Sure, it's fine.
It's
fine.
Sometimes you swing and a miss, you know.
Well, we're assembling the in ingredients right now. We'll be there soon.
Yes.
There we go.
1 second.
All right. I need to make a.
Block smoothie.
Dinner. A
need to
block
make a-
smoothie.
Block smoothie. Honeycombs.
Trying to understand where.
Are you gonna make a block? Oh wait.
Yeah. Got like
Oh, no.
50 wallets that open now.
Same.
This is ridiculous.
You're like, ooh, you can spin these up whenever you want. Cool.
Yep.
I am.
I'm so interested when Dave's first block is going to be. I'm just like constantly like hitting this up graph.
Wait, does it? Where do I need to? Oh, connect there. What the hell? There we go.
The diff is large.
Yes. Just gonna try and clean it up really quick, but I think some of our async stuff could be to make things less messy.
Okay, how do you?
So,
How do you change the mainnet right now?
What do you mean?
I'm in MetaMask and it's not letting me switch. up
Exit
top.
out of the like transaction. Like just cancel the transaction. And
Reject.
then you have to do it beforehand. I think you can't do it in the middle of the transaction.
Oh, got it.
I think it's just some funky
Yep.
stuff like how things
That
are
makes
being
sense. They
transferred.
just haven't found that
Improve
out
the
yet.
UI, UX.
Yeah.
It's probably some
Insufficient.
like weird encryption stuff that they need to like work around. I have no idea.
Says I have insufficient funds.
Do you need, send me your wallet. I have a bunch of testnet money.
Okay.
I guess is it gorum.eth? Is it that one?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I don't know if I've done the reverse nonsense yet.
Yeah, it's not found.
Okay, here. Let's put it in current.
Yeah, it's like $2 something odd cents in gas fees.
Yeah. I've edited mine so many times. I'm like, what am I doing?
I need to go
Yeah.
do the reverse
Think about
lookup
this all
stuff.
at once. Should go get more ETH.
CJ, do you remember
Hmm.
if we're committing package lock or just package JSON?
Package JSON definitely needs to be committed. I don't know about package lock. I think
that was
I've been
only
omitting it because it's all fucked up.
okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but like, I don't know. It's super janky and I just end up deleting it anyway. I don't know how this stuff is messed up to me.
Yeah, we'll find out right now. All right, that's fine.
Contract interaction failed. What does it say? What the fuck?
Everything's breaking.
David doesn't like you.
Supported services. What the hell did I do? Count one. Oh, oops.
What the hell?
I just.
Did I
I'm
not
getting my
confirm?
own
You're getting your own?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to. Give
So
me
right now,
18.
every block is writing to the Ethereum
Testnet.
blockchain, but we're going to move it to Polygon. How,
We probably will move it to Polygon at some point. Yeah. It's probably a good idea.
Was
But
like-
right now it's on the testnet, so don't use your mainnet wallet.
got it.
One.
Which does it matter which testnet we're using? Rinkeby?
Rinkeby, it does matter. Both of them failed sending to that address.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on there. Doesn't like me.
I tried sending you half an ether.
Not connected.
Wait, that's the contract. You sent the contract to me.
Did I?
Yeah.
What? Oops. Oh yeah, I copied the second one. But yeah, even then,
Send me-
the-
Try sending the actual address.
yeah, here.
Or I can look up Goran.eth on Ether.
Do that, but this should be the address. 5416. Yeah.
Is it Goran.eth?
Yeah.
What's it? Really?
I don't have it. Like I haven't
I
done.
don't
the
see it
revert.
owned by anyone.
Great.
Yours is back.
Hey,
Wow.
welcome
Maybe
back.
I'm logged into the wrong.
You could be logged into like some different wallet. Let's see. This one might go through though.
Does this mean that I need Rinkeby tokens in order to play in this?
Yeah, send me that wallet and I can send you some as well.
Oh my god.
Or is that Kpaxel?
It's Kpaxel. Yeah, it is Kpaxel. That's the same as sending you the full key, right? I don't have the reverse lookup set yet.
It says yours is available too. What the fuck is going on?
Are you looking on Etherscan?
I am.
Yeah, registering
Etherscan
controller.
doesn't work for
Or
some
I'm looking
reason.
on ENS.
Hmm.
But it's because it's on the Rinkeby network. That's why. Oh, okay.
I got so excited about all the names that were available on the portal, accidentally looking at the
Oh
record.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Google-
no.
Google.eth is available. What?
It is cool though that it is so per network though, or like per,
yeah.
like you really see where its lines of sort of influence start and end.
So do you have to use like a test wallet effectively?
It can
I
be
don't
under your
understand.
like same address, but it'll just be like working on a different network. It'll be like sending the transactions to a
Okay.
different network.
So I have 0.5 ETH on Rinkeby now. Did you send me that?
Yeah,
No.
I sent you that,
Okay.
and I sent Kristen that as well. So that's
I got it.
Did you do it through? What did you do it through?
I had 3 in my test wallet.
Okay.
And I've just been sending 0.5 around. I got it through from the faucet. It gives you like 3 ETH if you like use a
Yeah.
social media thing. And I have 2 Twitter accounts, so I just did it on my side account.
Mm.
URL link to supported doesn't link to supported services. To request funds via Twitter, blah 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 blah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just use this for now. On
It's a
Rinkeby.
little confusing in their UX, but you can grab 18 at a time.
Yeah. The
Which
like
is
drop
usually
down
good.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It doesn't.
think I
It
need to
doesn't
do that
like.
this time.
Connect flap. Where did that
You
come
know it?
from? Where it said connect wallet, it changed to connect flap.
Flap.
Flap. Wait, let me see if I can get it again.
Connect flap. It's just flapping
it.
about, huh?
Connect. I got
So is
it.
there
That
anything you
works
need
for
to
me.
do for the Rinkeby faucet to? I mean, other than
You
throw
like
your
tweet and then put the tweet URL in.
social network
With-
URL containing your Ethereum address.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Any social network URL?
Twitter or Facebook.
I'll just do Facebook
Yeah.
because who cares? My grandma will be like, "What's happening? Did you get hacked?" This is the first thing I've posted to Facebook, and like, I don't know.
Years.
Yeah, what do you do? All right, so request for
Everything who's ever been your friend is about to get an alert. Dave
Exactly.
Glover back on Facebook.
Publish a new public post with your Ethereum address embedded into the content. Surrounding text doesn't matter. All right.
Hello, this is my Ethereum address.
What's on your mind, Dave? Give me Rinkabee money.
I'd recommend hitting 18.
Yeah.
Basically,
So,
it's the interval at which you can get more, but
yep.
if you have 18, you're not going to need more.
I see. I'm on the website. I see John's post that says he just received.
That's wait. Which website? This one?
Like this one right here. You see it? See there? Like I get it on my computer as
Yeah,
well.
I see.
What? No, that's
Funded. All right, I'm about to be funded too.
yes.
No,
Got my profile picture.
wrong.
Now we have infinite Rinkabee coins. As far as I can tell, 18 is so much more than you would ever need.
Yeah.
Well, you just
Wow.
tossed in there.
Let's see what's happening here.
There we go.
Post URL.
So
That is our.
you just
current-
paste in the
Next flap.
your profile URL.
I
tweet,
did
a
the
tweet.
tweet URL.
You have to tweet your address and then copy the tweet URL into the.
Oh, okay.
Where did the word flap come from?
I don't.
don't
This is
know.
incredible. I guess it could be some weird, like, I guess the W could have been rotated and flattened. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Like, you don't even get the word flap out of wallet. Like, it just...
It's just that kind of day.
I wonder
Yep.
if, is it like a Google Translate thing?
It might be because it was like detecting Latin, and
Right.
so I told it to go to English, and that's what came up.
Probably it. Wallet is flap in Latin.
There you go.
So,
All right. So I just need to tweet my public key.
yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Okay.
That's what it should be.
All right, so Facebook is being dumb.
Looks like you got to tweet something,
Classic.
Dave.
Classic Facebook.
I want to tweet something. Just want to put my.
Here, I can tweet something for you.
No.
No,
I got like-
you gotta cancel out and switch an hour.
This is what you were saying about
Yeah, you gotta reject it and then.
reject the whole thing.
Yeah, I kind of actually end up keeping a test account separate from my mainnet account just so I don't accidentally spend real Ethereum.
Yeah, it's a good policy.
Yep.
I probably need to do that. At least the wallet pops up and asks you to confirm the transaction. You're like,
Mhm.
$2 to type to post something that says I'm hungry. I don't think so.
That'll make people think twice about posting.
Posting.
Yeah.
Maybe you're really hungry. Maybe that NFT goes viral.
Yep. You'll buy
No.
food.
Yeah, it does not like Facebook. Posts. Why you do me wrong?
Wild.
This is sweet. Oh, it's so funny. I love the being able to query the graph without the website too. You can see like what's going through.
Things happening.
Hello, does this work?
Ethereum address found.
This is really cool. Also want to figure out how to.
All right, Flap connected.
Funding secured? No, Flap connected.
I'm not used to like having something like the public key, which is, I don't know, it looks like a cryptographic key.
Yeah, it
Doing
looks like something
that-
you don't want to share.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a version of, what's the version there? Is it like, there's something you don't want to share, but where is
Private.
that even?
Your private
It's-
key, which is going to
Yeah.
be
It's
like
harder to
2
access.
or 3 times as long. You got to enter your MetaMask password to get to it. The
Okay.
absolute most important thing is seed phrase. Never share it.
Yeah, we've been talking about like how to store backups to that stuff in a way that, yeah, when you're on the road, because like putting it on a piece of paper, like where are you going to store it?
There's a clever technique I saw, but I need to do it myself, where there's some way to split your seed phrase into 3 separate like sheets of paper or 3 different locations. Where if you have 2 of them, you'll be able to unlock it.
Oh.
So you can
But
lose.
you don't need
one.
all 3. Yes.
Yeah.
That's clever. No.
I gotta do that and then hide stuff around my house.
Mhm.
Seriously.
It'd be like a puzzle. Yeah, I think
Build it in.
Vitalik's was 2 pieces, but in separate countries. So he's like, I needed to fly home to Canada to get it, the other half. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at that point, I probably would too.
He's got enough money to buy a Concorde.
Yeah. Okay, so at that point, it's more about the cost of the time, really. Nothing.
Exactly.
Not moving.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think he had somebody like, because when they gave him all that, what was it?
Yep.
I forget. Yeah.
Somebody just minted a bunch of coins and dedicated half of them to him. He's just like, fuck your coins.
Here, have $3.9 billion. It's your problem now.
No.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm not able to save like the block.
It takes some time, so just it like takes about a minute to save.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
it looks
Yeah,
very
yeah, we can change that.
Maybe like we could take a look at that right now.
Yeah, it's a very simple change, probably.
Yep.
And I got 1 block.
I might be getting errors, but
You could also probably do inspect and
Yeah,
look
I'm
at your
looking.
console. Yep.
I've got MetaMask RPC error, execution reverted, and then I've also got, says that my account with my public key is missing role.
Ooh.
Oh, that means the contract is rejecting you.
And then under it, it says uncaught in promise error, cannot estimate gas. Transaction may
Yeah.
fail or may require manual gas limit.
Are
Yeah, I
you
think this-
using? Go ahead, CJ.
Oh no, I think you go ahead. I'm pretty sure you're getting to it fast.
Yeah, well, we were both going to say the same thing. So CJ set up a whitelist in the contract for specified addresses that would have permissions. Are you using the same address that he set?
Yeah,
Can
I only
we
got the
double
one.
check that? Let me. You only have that one.
I don't have a test wallet. I did, yeah,
Let's see.
yeah. It doesn't matter which network you're on, right?
No, it shouldn't. It's the 9CA is the last 3.
Yeah, 9CA.
9CA. You should have permissions. Even if you refresh the page, it doesn't work.
Let's see. Tried doing that before. Connect wallet.
That is odd. revoke roll. Is that the problem?
Yeah, it's throwing the same error.
Too.
I wonder if it's going to the old contract address.
Oh, I did do the reverse record.
Lucky you and Ethereum wasn't so expensive. I'm being a cheapskate.
Do it now or forever. It'll forever get more expensive.
I know, I was thinking that. I was like, I'm holding out now, and like the next time I try to go do it, it's gonna be like $300.
Either that or gas prices will go down so significantly that it won't matter.
Yeah, one or the other.
I wonder why. Oh, I never set it up on internet
Test
camera. I'm
net.
using a different wallet.
Oh.
Coinbase, go away.
Ooh, someone's frozen right now.
Yeah.
Contract is this going?
Okay, I'm good.
Can you post?
Hmm?
You posted?
I made a post. I don't know how to get to it right now.
You might just need to refresh. So after about a minute. Okay, so maybe Dave, while you're looking at my screen waiting for your block to appear, what do you think might be a nice stopgap way to just show a user loading state? That
User
something's
loading
happening?
state.
Well, basically something in between right here. So we have our content in, we would hit save, but before all of this like changes. So I think maybe it makes sense to still leave these as fields, although maybe not, because after hitting save, you can't actually change the text anymore. So I don't think there's a point of showing the like editable fields. But we do want to probably show some piece of information somewhere.
Yeah, so we can.
Just real quickly, I was using honeycombs.buzzard.life. That's probably why it wasn't working.
That is probably why.
Yep.
Oh,
It dropped the
please
latest
There-
release URL.
The
in.
contract
I
might have been
just
old
pieced that together.
for that one. Yeah, the contract was kind of old for that one. I might have, when I deployed it, missed out on your address because I didn't have it yet.
Okay.
Oh, the contract is verified, so you can directly interact with it now? Is that the case?
It could be a test at work.
Now it's posted. Yeah, so this is where like
Kind of imagining-
pending and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing here a small oh wait, I don't even know where that went. Oh, duh. The wrong. I do that so much where I look at a remote staging server and expect my local changes to appear.
It's an outrage. They should.
It should. Okay, also something else is going on wrong. Let's...
All right, I got a block.
Got a block. Hungry.
Good place for that.
Ooh, chickpeas, rice, and some kind of greens.
Yeah.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah, so after you save the block, all I can see is mine. So if I go home, And everybody's Jake the dog.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just a placeholder for now.
Oh, that's how it is.
Yeah, and that's funny. The history is placeholder.
Kind of a tangent, but the avatar thing is kind of interesting. I've been thinking about like potentially setting up an avatar project with a friend and then having those be like defaults for internet camera.
Yeah.
Just seems
How are
like
you-
it's kind of a fun thing to play with right now.
Yeah, like what were you thinking on that front?
That's about as far as I've gotten.
Okay.
I was
If
curious.
anybody wants to collaborate on that, that could be really fun too.
Yeah.
I was curious, is this something that like potentially could be handled by ENS already? Because I know there's a text record for avatar by default. So would it just be kind of loading the text record for ENS?
So they do
From
that,
Jonas?
but adoption of setting an avatar field within ENS is so low that a lot of apps are just kind of like going to like a Gravatar thing or using a lot of libraries that'll just randomly generate something. I think there's something kind of fun of like if you're doing a protocol, just having like a nice set of default avatars that are like native to that, which you can also let them mint and purchase as an NFT. You kind of get the best of both worlds. Just seems like something fun to play with.
Totally. Like crypto.
Yeah,
art.
I'd love to talk out the pattern of that.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Because like CJ and I were talking about like doing some weird thing with like, rendering something with an SVG or, like doing some composite thing based on some information coming in.
Yeah.
That's like the toy idea. If it can come off the chain, you can make some interesting art out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
The SVGs are cool too, because those can be fully on chain. No IPFS.
Mm. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. Yeah, red.
That's how the blip maps. I don't know if you guys have seen blip maps.
No.
I'll post a link. This is Dom Hoffman, the guy that made Vine.
Yeah.
His project.
Oh, I didn't know that was him. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So I can't see Dave's post. All I can see is mine.
So far, that's
When I click
expected.
home, that's okay.
Yeah, but there may be a way to literally just take somebody else's address and put it author : so that might work. It's actually not clear to me yet why it wouldn't, but let's find out.
So CJ, where did you see what I posted?
I was on the like honeycomb subgraph on the graph, and I just keep querying it periodically to see everyone's stuff.
Yep.
Well, the good news is that
Yeah,
wait.
it's there.
I mean, I can see my own blocks. That's
I
what
don't
matters.
know. Oh, did you add that in, John? That query?
No.
There is some query that we need to fix for sure. Or
yeah, I think.
but I need to look at the look at the code.
One thing that's been sort of bouncing around my mind lately is like these sets of avatars that get created on chain. Like interesting, but I'm wondering if the ability to like combine them and have sort of if two of them interact, two of these things on chain, then like something else happens, either a new event or the two change their own state. And that way you kind of, even if you start out with a set, you can presumably have like a near infinite set of combinations of them. And all of it's still like in the open and stuff. But and the one that my mind keeps going to is something around plants or something generative where you can give it a small seed and then it crossing with something else, maybe with a color or another shape.
Grows
like,
it, yeah.
Yeah, in some way it changes it. So somewhere around there, but some like an avatar that changes over time based on who else sees it, but not in a very like offensive way, just in a very like procedurally pretty way.
Yeah, a bunch of levers there.
I like the plants. That would be kind of fun, and I don't know. There's like weird things that you could try to do with like genes and stuff, and having different genes of plants combined with each other.
Yeah, get a little crossbreeding experimentation going on.
Yeah, that could be kind of fun.
Interesting, yeah.
What's fun about the avatar stuff too is that those all can then turn into like game assets for anything, right? Like that's the metaverse kind of concept of like, all right, you've got your
Yeah.
plants now. Somebody's gonna go and make the website where people can like build gardens together and
Yep.
place their
Yeah.
NFTs into a little land area and have all sorts of new interactions there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really cool how anything can be used in any other context without necessarily owning it or removing it from that original context.
Yep.
This is cool.
It'd be pretty cool if I duld have 19 Ethereum.
Very so.
Agreed. That
Oh
would
my
be,
god, that looks nice.
Be cool for both of us.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd probably buy a CryptoPunk or maybe like
Yeah.
1
You'd need
1,000th
another
of one.
Yeah, exactly. You need another
I love
300.
the CryptoPunks. They're so cute. And
You and everyone
whole,
else.
There's a whole comic series on them coming out now. So they have
Yeah.
like personas and stuff. Yeah. I'm into it.
Has everybody looked at the party bid stuff?
So
Yeah,
Party
I've
Bid
been-
won one of the CryptoPunks.
Oh, I
Yeah.
saw something
The
about that.
Stoner, I think. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty cool.
Especially because they're basically building a UI that combines a bunch of contracts that already existed. They wrote their own too, but it's all building on top of like
Yeah.
Zora and Fractional, and
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like a lot of energy behind that thing right now. It's been popping off.
Yeah.
Already done?
Yeah, I mean they're the closest in like a sort of software project that I've heard. Like I listened to a podcast with them, and their like working methodology is very similar to ours. They just happen to be on a rich on a rich vein. But they've been working on that for I think 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah,
something
not
like
that long.
Wow.
I remember when it first came out, people were losing their minds about it.
Yeah.
I don't think they raised an insane amount, by the way. Like it
Did
was,
they?
I think it was a pretty relatively reasonable amount. They may have raised like 90 to 100K USD total initially.
Oh, wow.
oh, that is.
And then what
yeah.
happened is like, as soon as, they went live, there's money just being poured into those contracts. So they could say, we've had like 5 million in like, revenue or money passing through the protocol or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not all profit or even
No.
like net revenue, but
Right.
it's going
It's
through
just-
the systems.
Processing. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't sort of poked around other than like listening to how they're working together, and then just noticing how many of the people that I know from like New York are drinking the Kool-Aid right now.
And in
So-
amongst.
Yeah, I mean smart people, so they're having fun doing it.
The chain of events is interesting to follow on Snapshot, like with a lot of these things, but there you can really see like, all right, here's the points where they had to break out of Discord and like do a more formalized kind of proposal process. So it's cool to see the history of that too. And
Yeah.
What are you thinking for Buzzard.call?
Don't know. Just maybe a tool.
Yeah,
Like
a video
like a-
tool.
that automatically creates blocks after you finish the call. And
Ooh,
gives
yeah.
everybody that was part of it, like authorship. Yeah, because really interesting flows here possible.
Yeah.
But the good
Shahruz, you were
news-
working with like some video flow, right?
yeah, I'll have that done because I'm doing that for internet camera stuff. So I'll have that done in open source.
Oh.
I'll share it with you guys. But
Oh, okay. That makes so much more sense. I was trying to figure out what it was for. Now I connected the dots.
yeah,
Yeah.
because basically I think I want to try those on Discord instead of Zoom, just to kind of like try something else out. And
Yeah.
then from Discord, it'll go through
Oh, yeah.
OBS and then OBS onto mux.com,
Yeah.
which is like a live video streaming service. And then that can be viewed live and then it'll automatically archive, which I
Yeah.
want to put like a basic token gate in front of and
Yeah.
Nice.
kind of play around.
Sweet.
I actually would say Discord is way softer and nicer for this because it's set up for like the audience kind of format. Like Zoom
Yeah.
works, but Discord works just as well too. So I think
It's
it'll be
nice
pretty
too, because if you're hanging out in Discord, then people can come join if they're like online.
good. Yep. And the chat history gets preserved It doesn't
Yeah.
just like vanish, so you can kind of keep building on.
Yep.
And
Which-
for like timestamp stuff, like with Discord, you get both events synced up on the same timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get all your chat messages on a time, then you know when the video started and ended.
Yep.
So it's easier to automate kind of like bookmarks or annotations that way using chat
Absolutely.
messages.
Yep.
Nice.
Whereas
Yep.
with Zoom, we need the equivalent of like one of those production kind of clapper things that'll sync up.
Mhm.
Like here's
Yeah.
where everything started.
Coming together rapidly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Such a weird world. All of this.
That's very, very, very much so.
Yeah.
Normal.
I just want to
You're
hack
weird.
on more of this stuff. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of
super
it's
fun.
kind of mind boggling, and then you're like, oh man, there's so much
Yeah.
that can be improved in like the flows and everything. It's all
Yeah.
there. It's just like, okay,
Yeah,
how do you make
It's
it?
putting
How
it
do
all
you-
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way to do it is with a group of people too. It's just
Yeah.
too weird.
Inherently
Yeah.
social.
Yeah, inherently networked.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
pretty rad.
Super rad.
Also, this thing we have going right now, where like people are doing their various other things, but there's like the central call, is very interesting. I think this would be a good space to sort of come into, and then everybody like does little things. But as soon as you have a question or like an idea or proposal, you can like get sort of the attention that that thing kind of needs at that moment, and then continue. Like the garage door open kind of is what I think where we'll be able to host this, but I think it'll be very, very fun.
Yeah.
Just co-build.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would be very curious what a 24/7 live stream looks like, especially with people in different time zones, and it's just like
Absolutely.
this like continuous like weird building process. Like that'd be insane.
Yeah. There would be those crazy people that would like stay for 24 hours on at a time, and honestly, I might become one of them. Just like swapping out drinks, but just continue on.
Coffee and then beer later and then back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes me think of that Leonard dude that was part of the Designathon Interact. Do you remember him? The first time I met him, it was, I think, evening Pacific time. It was like 3 a.m. in Sweden, I think is where he was. And he's just like, I'm fucking psyched to be here. And like, I'm just like, he's like, I'm never going to sleep. He's like, I'm never going to sleep again. And I'm just like, okay. And we like started getting into like crazy, like interesting material right away. Cause he's just like, what's going on? Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm just like, all right. Like, yeah. I was like, I guess some people just don't need to sleep. I'm not one of them.
I distinctly remember, during Interact, just being like, I can go no more. I'm gonna go to sleep now. And
Yeah.
I think, that's
normal.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels good though if you find people who are working on stuff that is on the same
Totally.
wavelength. You're
so
willing
that's-
to be up in the middle of the night, and you're like, I'll sleep during the day. I don't care, like whatever.
Yeah, and the idea of something that's going to be still running when I come back to it is really cool, because then almost that pressure disappears, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be able to like plug back into this network, this thing that's happening at any point. And there is a connection here, Dave, to that thing that I think you maybe mentioned Beamer had, where like there's a social event that moves around like the Earth, but synchronized to some sort of time, and like at cities and concerts, kind of that synchronicity.
Yeah.
So you presumably can have like a thing that's always available online also have like real offline implications too, and the two.
Yeah. It was like customized by the geographic place where you were at, and like
Yep.
you could shape it based on the chat. Like it was interactive. Yeah, he had a whole, it was pie in the sky, but yeah, he had a whole sort of thought around it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should we should definitely talk to him about like some of his blue sky ideas on like distributed geographic presence hooked into data and all these other things to create stages so that, yeah, he has all kinds of crazy stuff on that front. So,
yeah, I'm gonna drop him into the Discord because I think we cleared that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then that's the only person we've got so far that's, yeah, working in this space that I think Dave is gonna follow up with Mike Badge just to double check, and then
yeah, I may hit him up when we're back in Portland because he's
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. So we can probably hang out
he's
in
there.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that'll be pretty soon here.
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah. A week from
All
now,
right.
we'll be
Yeah.
with John.
Mm-hmm.
Super exciting.
Mhm.
Yes.
Then we'll
Planning to
really
drive up.
start moving fast. What's that?
Yeah.
It'll
I
just be
am kind of
constant.
terrified what's gonna happen when 3 of us together.
This will be interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to take an extra day and probably just slowly meander up the coast, stop somewhere, look at the ocean,
Nice.
continue on.
Cool.
The
So I'll
ocean in
probably head
Oregon
out
is
Sunday.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really pretty out there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna come up and visit at some point as well.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. All right. So where are we at? Like,
Yeah.
we got the thing tied in and like just sort of async from here a little.
I think so. There's maybe two piles of things that we can make, like decisions to be made and maybe thought through async, which maybe just like send your thinking on and that's enough, and just like send in Discord. So what is a default query, any things about the user flows and the sorting, that the next sort of I guess there's not too many questions there that need to be decided. But the other pile of things is things that can be concretely done right now. And so that there's a little like paper cuts and stuff that can be cleaned up a little bit right now. There's the like user feedback after a block is being minted and uploaded. Some styling that I think is already pretty defined in Figma, so just applied.
Yep.
Pagination seems pretty straightforward. If because I think Shahruz, you mentioned that's already baked into the graph, and so we just need to print out all those blocks.
Not the variable in for which page.
Cool.
There's the full text indexing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's the double add bug that maybe could be a small thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a stack of stuff here to get all that tied in. So, yeah, it's any state stuff that comes up. Like I can sort of dummy some stuff together, or if logic gets dummied in, I can paint it. So, yeah. So before I forget, so we hit save, and then what do we want to have happen there? Like what's going on there to like communicate? Should we just lock all the fields and then?
Let's see.
I think we should have a plant growing and blossoming.
Oh yes,
You animate that.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use Fiverr to animate it.
Yeah.
You use
Very
Fiverr
good.
to animate it.
Good
Perfect.
idea. SVG
How
animation.
long would it take me to figure out how to do that?
You use Fiverr? I don't know.
No, to animate a plant,
I
be like
think
a
you
seed.
just have to use Illustrator or one of those old Flash animators, probably, because.
So 10 years to learn the tool, and then
Yes.
5 minutes to make the animation. Wouldn't take that long.
Oh, another ENS lookup slash
Yep.
translation. As to the question of what the state looks like after clicking save, I think locking the fields makes sense, and changing something about this part, maybe this part, or that left hand floating
Yeah, we talked about doing the pending stuff.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, because we could ship it off to that.
Yeah.
And then you've got just like a, because then you don't have a big block in the page that's not doing anything. But
Yep.
I mean, whatever works.
I mean, yeah, you could frost it over and then have some kind of indicator showing progress.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, it's-
complicated though, isn't it? If you showed like, no.
And
So like once you hit post, yeah, it's not showing up immediately.
can.
It can.
Yeah,
If
it's
we've got the
moving-
information,
We have
and then
all the
we can-
information and we can add more like little state stuff to it
yeah,
to kind of indicate where it is after the fact too, but like fix it to at least make it seem as if it's.
I think that's
Yeah.
the best way to go about doing it so that it's in the page and you feel
Yep.
comfortable knowing that it's there. And then we're back to our like sort of pending state.
Yes.
I think so. I think the only important factor there is to show that this block is not. It's here. It is positionally
Yeah.
and time,
Yeah.
but it's not on the chain yet. So like,
No.
there's a small chance that you're going to lose it. Basically, that you. So don't assume that that exists forever yet. But when it does exist, this is where it will exist.
Something that
Okay,
we
so-
might, or
Go ahead. No,
Um,
go ahead.
it's probably not super high priority, but something that might be nice for convenience there is to save that each post in a local storage until there's confirmation that it's been posted on chain. So
Yeah,
you can
totally.
pick up with like a retry if it fails.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, because the two places, and then if that's in the page or wherever it is in local storage, then we can make sure that it's being pulled back, and then yeah, like in history or whatever, it's got some pending something or others, and then if we have a global like activity, whatchamacallit, it can go in there as well. Yeah, and then some linking or whatever from the pending thing, so you can go directly to the block. You can start checking. We'll start binding all that stuff together. So I think because if we don't have to have the state and the big block and it'd be better. So however we want to dummy that in, because I'm still trying to figure out whether or not there needs to be an indicator on the block at all, or if it just can live in history. I mean, we could put a little blip next to the history thing
can
to show that
kinda-
it's,
I can at least dummy something in for now, and then if you want to modify it or just delete it later, that's fine. I can just add like little pieces
Yeah.
of text that are already linked
That'd be
into the
perfect.
state. So it should be
Yeah,
easy
that's-
enough to do that.
that's the easiest way for me to mock up state stuff, unless we have something very explicit that we want to hit, because then it's functional and I can work with it in the page to make it feel proper. So yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. Yeah, I can make a few little modifications to do that.
Sweet.
In that case, I'm also going to create our burst 2 branch, and I guess we can just assume everything which happened was burst 1, and I'll make that PR, send it up, so that'll be the place. And it turns out that, well, I guess due to our current configuration, Vercel will still be building us a preview, so it might not kick it off if you push to it, but I'll make sure. And so we'll have a it should be static URL for our burst 1 URL, or our burst 1 PR, burst 2.
Did you merge in, because I know you sent a pull request to the template I have on my personal account. Did you merge that code into the Honeycombs repo directly?
No, because I figured we still want a slightly different strategy. But like I was also thinking, it could work. The only blocker there is that we have a private repo right now. So if we unlock that, then that pages will appear on our account and we can use it.
Interesting. I actually think if we were to unlock it, it might also fix the Vercel thing. And I'm basing that off the fact that CJ submitted like an internet camera pull request, and that got a deploy URL totally fine, but he's not on my Vercel.
Yes, so Vercel did block us on that plan because they basically say, if your org is has a private repo, then that's when you get kicked over to the plan. So that will be one option. It does simplify deployment and stuff. We just want to be sure about that when we do it. don't know. And the licensing, which I haven't fully
Yeah.
dug into yet.
So there, are we just, I mean, is the debate to open up the repo to basically? I mean, is that what it comes down to?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
I
what
think that's fine.
yeah. What are the cons there? Are there any?
People see our code. If they
I
go
mean-
look.
Yeah.
We have to be a little bit more careful about pushing up like private keys
Yeah.
or environment keys, but I think we've been good already about that. Can't hurt
Yeah.
to stay as careful.
Yep.
Somebody could steal it and fork it, but the odds of that are extremely low.
Good luck.
And if they do, hopefully they improve it and perfect.
Yeah, they solve things that we didn't solve yet.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
Maybe they'll
Well,
be our
they'll
friends. This is
Exactly.
how we make
can
friends.
we can go join their team.
Yeah, I agree. It does feel like that's the direction we're moving in eventually anyway, given every other component is transparent and on-chain and whatnot. But the only like unknown in my mind is the license.
Yeah.
I've punted on that on the internet camera stuff.
Yeah.
And was your solution to that just to like not specify anything?
No, yeah.
Yeah, which feels like a fine default. I think the bad thing is when you set a license that you then revoke, and there's like strange things about what happens to the people that use the code in the meantime. But if you don't set anything, then you're essentially saying you reserve the right to go to a lower specification or a more specific specification.
Do we know anybody that knows about this that we can sort of? The only person that I know is Satya, who has worked in open source, but I don't know, like, I could ask him about this specific.
We have Simon potentially,
Yeah.
and then Jason Nelson
Mm.
might have a decent idea.
Oh, you're
and I'm supposed
talking
to
to
talk
Jason
to him.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see where he's at on all that. Maybe we can have a call if he's game.
Kind of curious
Yeah.
how FWB is doing it too, if Mike Bodge has any
Yeah.
insights there.
Yeah, I can poke him. Yeah, I don't know how much he knows about that stuff. Yeah, I'll prod him.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's something that they're not thinking about, that's kind of an interesting data point.
It's info. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, feelers, and then blank for now, I guess. Sweet.
Sounds good. So yeah, for now we'll have Marcel working, and then I think in about a week we can make a final decision on the license, even if that's just don't specify it, and we'll have a smoother flow for deployment from there out.
Nice. Sweet.
When should we get together next? It looks like there's some async stuff in the meanwhile.
Mm-hmm. And next Monday is our first day, which could be a little chaotic.
Yep.
I think I'd be good with Friday, especially if next week's call is maybe a little later.
Works for me.
Friday should work for me as well.
Yep.
Let's say
What time, CJ, is best?
Probably, let me check. My guess is pretty much any time is fine.
Okay.
say
So do we
4
want to
Pacific.
do weekend?
I think I would rather do Friday because I definitely have a dentist appointment on Saturday, and I may be traveling up on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll probably be out of town over the weekend. Earlier on Friday would probably work better for me, but I can still make pretty much anything work probably.
How early, ideally?
12 would probably be like around ideal, but again, like I'm pretty flexible on that.
Like a lunch thing?
I think let's try that, or aim for that. If
Okay.
I have some stuff that comes up, I'll let you know. No,
Perfect.
just watch.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, this has been great. I think it's been our longest session yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I definitely near had a brain meltdown there for a moment. But it was right after you left. CJ and I were like wandering in the dark for like 3 minutes, and then we're like, we should stop. So I got some water and a cookie.
I was gonna say, and a cookie.
Yeah, and then we came back, and it was pretty
Nice.
good. It was sorted out.
Yeah, we were getting into like some very specific React hook kind of weirdness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ran into like an infinite loop, and we are like, okay, we got to do some stuff. We got to
did
do
it.
some stuff now. So,
But it was great. Thanks again for guiding me through all of that. That was
Thanks for driving.
yeah,
happy to. Yes,
Very
yes.
thank you,
fun.
John.
Another episode
Yeah.
of CodeTV.
CodeTV
Yeah.
complete.
Mhm.
Is
In
this
the
the
bag.
first time outside of the 11D interface that we now actually have a full loop? Right?
I think
I think
so. Yeah.
So yeah, huge session.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, they were. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got a block. We got a block, individual block maker and
Mhm.
viewer.
Well,
Yeah,
not only
it's-
that, but I did test this. You could put author : somebody else's address and see their
Oh, yeah,
blocks as
yeah,
well.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that works as well.
It does.
Oh, sweet,
A whole shebang.
nice. Now we just got to schmooze it up a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, schmooze it up.
Schmooze it up. Yeah.
It up.
So milestone. Another one. Every week a milestone.
Yes.
This is the pace. It's red.
Actually, I mean, it was just yesterday was the other milestone.
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
That's the thing.
Wow. Wow.
You're like another
Yeah.
week, and I was like, wait, I guess yesterday was a different week technically.
See?
Technically,
There you go.
yeah.
Every time the week turns over, there's a new milestone. And
Yes.
it's a new week everywhere you go on the planet. So there you go.
We
Every
minted
day
a
is
new
week.
milestone.
Every day is a new week. Every day is a new week in Web3.
Oh wait. So given that this is our next burst and we need something
Mm.
to pin the package or the PR2, what is our version? Are we going 0.1? So we're at 0.1.0 right now. Do we think this warrants 0.1.1? 2? I don't know. Do you know what the
1.0.
There you go.
I think 1.0.
We're gonna be bumping these versions real fast.
Yeah.
Well, no, I figure it's going to be at 1.0 for a while, but it does feel like, given the full loop, maybe this is the
Yeah.
time. Maybe we do
A
have,
bigger version bump.
yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean,
Alright.
a point two or what?
A point
Or-
two. We can do a point two.
Well, yeah. So it's now going to be 1.0.0. Now have something.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Why not? Works for me. All right,
Sweet.
cool. Nicely done, everybody. Till next
We
time.
did it.
Likewise. Thank you, everybody.
Hooray! All right.
Cool.
I'm
Later.
going to go
Peace.
outside
Have a good night.
and look at flowers.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Relax.
Yes.
Enjoy.
You earned it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Bye.
Get ready for bed. Peace.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.